Well, greetings and salutations, everybody. Welcome to the best damn movie-related show on the planet Earth, the John Campea Show, coming from right here on my YouTube channel. I am, of course, your host, John Campea, and it is an awesome honor and privilege, as it is every day, to have you, our international friends, gather around as we talk about our favorite things in the world. Rob still has not learned how to mute his computer. Anyway, I'm also joined by Robert Burnett, ladies and gentlemen. Robert, how you doing?
Sorry, I hit my button as I popped out today's chat.
Oh, I see.
So it's good to be here, John. The last day of May.
It is the last day of May, or as some people online are dubbing it, it is Norman Osborn Day, the day that ends May. Yes.
Oh. My heart.
Boo!
Boo!
Boo that.
And sitting beside Rob, of course, is a now traumatized Chris Carr. Chris, how you doing?
I'm so sad.
It's such a sad day.
Oh.
And sitting over there, of course, joining you guys in the live chat today, it's Ray Ora. Ray, how you doing?
Hey, how you doing?
And right beside him, of course, we got producer Jonathan running the show today. Jonathan, good to have you here today. And it is, of course, awesome to have you guys here today. Here's how today's show is going to go, folks. We're going to break it up into two parts. In the first half of the show, we're going to take some predetermined topics. Then in the second half of the show, we're going to take your live comments and questions. Now, if you want to get in a live comment or question for us to read in the second half of the show, number one, you got to be watching live. That's kind of obvious. And number two, just wait until we get near the end of the main topics. I will announce that we are opening up the super chats. And when we do, that's when you can fire them in. But move quickly, because we only leave them open for a couple of minutes because they do fill up fast. Also, I want to remind you guys that if you need your daily fix of the John Campea Show, but you can't be sitting in front of a YouTube video, I don't know, maybe you're commuting, you're jogging, or whatever, good news, there is an audio-only version of the show that we simply call the John Campea Show podcast. Just go into your favorite podcasting app of choice and subscribe to it today so it'll be there when you need it. Also, we have a separate podcast feed for Mailbag. Just search on your podcast feed for Mailbag, a John Campea Show podcast, and again, subscribe to it today so it'll be there when you're in the mood to listen to some cool movie and TV show talk. All right, guys. With that all down, let's move into some topics here, shall we? And we're going to start with an off the top. And the first off the top is this. Now, there was, I think we've moved beyond it now, but there was for a period of time there a real surge in popularity of, young adult novel to translate into movies. It was the big rage, whether it was Twilight, or what was that damn one where they woke up in a maze? Maze Runner. What's the one with the maze? Maze Runner. Reminds me of this time my wife, Ann, asked me, John, what's the name of that movie with Aaron Brockovich? Aaron Brockovich? Yeah, the one about the maze. Maze Runner. And, of course, one of the most successful, Hunger Games. Hunger Games was a runaway freight train of money-making that kind of caused the studio to go, hey, let's take that short last book and split it into another one so we can make double movies out of it. Whatever. I like the Hunger Games franchise, although as I was just telling these guys, I wasn't really big on the final episode, but be that as it may. We've heard for a while now that they are looking to go back and capitalize on the world of Panem again by wanting to do a Hunger Games prequel. That's happening. One of the main characters, of course, is going to be President Snow, who was played in the movies by good Canadian kid Donald Sutherland. And obviously he won't be playing it in this one.
No.
I hear they're going to digitally de-age him. No, I'm kidding.
No. Wait a minute.
That would be a lot.
Kiefer.
Or just get Kiefer. Only it have to be somebody even younger than
That's
Kiefer,
true.
I think. So there's that. But today we got big news. They have actually now announced their lead for the new Hunger Games prequel, and it's going to be West End Stories, Rachel Zegler.
West Side.
What did I say?
West End.
Story.
Did I say West End?
You were thinking about London.
Yeah.
I was probably thinking about
Thinking
London.
of
West
Pet Shop
Side
Boys.
Story, which I
West
still think
End.
was the best film of last year. West Side Story's Rachel Zegler. Now, of course, Rachel was fantastic in West Side. She did get outshone a little bit by one of her co-stars who went on to win an Academy Award, but that's all okay. Rachel was fantastic in it, and she was absolutely wonderful. Now we find out she's going to be the lead. This is the most significant, tangible piece of information that we've had, and real signs of life that this Hunger Games prequel is actually going to happen. So listen, whether she's the right person for this role, I mean, I don't know. I don't know anything about this thing, but the name of the prequel, I know this. The name of the prequel is really terrible. The name of the prequel is Hunger Games, The Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes. Once again, Hunger Games, The Ballad of Ricky Bobby. Sorry, The Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes. Not off to a good start with the title, but whatever. The title won't make it a good movie or a bad movie. Listen, so all I know is get somebody with talent. This girl blew me away in West Side Story, so I think this is pretty cool. And listen, is another Hunger Games movie necessary? Well, the answer to that question obviously is no. But I would press that there has never been a film made in cinematic history that was necessary. Can it make money? Can it entertain the audience? That's going to be the key thing. So anyway, Rob, you hear about them casting Rachel Zegler here. What do you think about the casting? And do you think the audience is looking for another Hunger Games movie?
Well, I mean, Suzanne Collins came back and wrote that book. So, she, the original author, created it. And I think that she's a great actress. I mean, I thought she was terrific in West Side Story. And she has a great look, and clearly she's got the chops to play the role. And I think they did cast President Snow.
I think you're right about that.
But I don't remember who it was. But he looked good. I remember seeing him going, that looks good. I think the story of, again, you know what it makes me think about? The prequels. The idea of civilization. How did Panem come to be? Like, why are there different districts? And how did this happen? And are they going to, obviously, it has to take place 50 years before Hunger
Something
Games.
Like that.
I mean, if we get to see an interesting examination of where President Snow came from and what turned him into the person he is, and I think that the potential for a great story is there. And look, dude, I got to tell you, Stephen King wrote a review of the Hunger Games, I want to say in Entertainment Weekly, and I'd never heard about it, and I went out and bought the book. I read that book in one sitting. And even though it was kind of like Stephen King's own novel of the Running Man, it was like Battle Royale, I really liked it. I thought it was good. And I thought the first Hunger Games movie was actually quite good in terms of an adaptation of the novel. So I'm stoked, to be honest.
By the way, here's a synopsis for the story that we have so far. In case you're into, this comes to us from the folks over at Slash Film. Years before he would become the tyrannical president of Panem, 18-year-old Coriolanus? That doesn't sound right. Snow is the last hope for his fading lineage, a once proud family that has fallen from grace in a post-war capital. With the 10th annual Hunger Games fast approaching, the young Snow is alarmed when he is assigned to mentor Lucy Gray Baird, the girl tribute from the impoverished District 12. But after Lucy Gray commands all of Panem's attention by defiantly singing during the reaping ceremony, Snow thinks he might be able to turn the odds in their favor. Uniting their instincts for showmanship and newfound political savvy, Snow and Lucy's race against time to survive will ultimately reveal who is a songbird and who is a snake.
Can I guess who the snake is?
Can we go out on a limb?
Can I?
I mean, listen, I'm not gonna lie. That sounds an awful lot like the Hunger Games synopsis. The defiant girl from District. Okay, whatever. But I was wondering if they're going to get singing in there. So okay, here we go. Anyway, Chris, you hear about this. What do you think about the sound of it? Do you like her casting? Do you think the audience is ready for another Hunger Games? What do you think?
I do love Rachel's casting. She's great. She's having such a good year. We had West Side Story. She's in Snow White, and she looks great in that costume. Oh my gosh, she's killing it.
Oh man.
Oh, she looks so perfect as her. And now we've got this, which obviously the Hunger Games, huge franchise, launched, so many careers. So this is really exciting. And I think there's definitely still a market for this kind of movie. We do have the problem with it being a prequel because I know how Snow ends up. I know how he turns out. So when you tell me who's a snake, I'm like, it's Snow. It's Snow. He's a bad
Snow is the
man.
snake.
And the guy who was cast to play him is Tom Blythe. And you might recognize him if you're here in LA on all those Epic's Billy the Kid billboards because he's Billy the Kid in that. So
Here's a question though. What if they? What do they say about the Barney movie? Oh yes, subvert expectations. What if they subvert expectations here and we get to the end of this thing and like Snow was actually a really good kid, like a really good 18-year-old, and he gets effed over by this other character, and that's what hardens him and leads him on a path.
That's a great story though.
I mean, so there is that. I don't know. Maybe it could be interesting. Questions for you guys. What do you think about this? We got Rachel's now going to be the lead in the new Hunger Games prequel. Do you like the sounds of it? Were you fans of the original movies? I was for the most part. Do you think this is going to be received well by the audiences? Whatever you guys think, jump down to the comment section below and leave your thoughts there. Okay, guys. With that down, let's do one more off the top, and that is this. I don't know if you've heard, but there was this show that came out earlier this week called Obi-Wan that some people seem to be kind of excited about. Well, it got a lot of attention, so much attention that now Disney has come out and publicly said that Obi-Wan is now the biggest Disney Plus original debut that they've ever had in the very short lifespan of Disney Plus. But we're talking about shows like WandaVision and shows like Moon Knight and shows like Mandalorian and shows like Book of Boba Fett. And Obi-Wan came out and apparently beat them all. So their tweet said this. Disney Plus got on their official Twitter account and they wrote out this. They said, "Thank you to the best fans in the galaxy for making Obi-Wan Kenobi the most watched Disney Plus original series premiere globally to date based on hours streamed in an opening weekend." I like that they put that little last bit in there because they're like saying, no, guys, we're not counting somebody just clicking on it for 3 seconds and then going away as a view. We're counting this on hours watched. So that's interesting. There's a couple things that stand out to me here. Number one, I'm actually not terribly surprised.
No.
Obi-Wan Kenobi is the most recognizable, the most celebrated, and over the generations, the most beloved character out of any of the characters that Disney Plus has turned into a show so far, be that in the Star Wars universe or in the MCU. Everybody knows Obi-Wan. Everybody remembers Ewan McGregor's Obi-Wan. Even people like me who didn't like the prequels liked Ewan McGregor as Obi-Wan. And so for him to come back here in this, I think that generated a lot of excitement. The trailers themselves were also premium. I mean, the trailers looked really good, showing off some Owen Lars in there and getting to see Inquisitors and just getting a good sense of Obi-Wan. That probably did a good thing. I want to also suggest this, that the fact that they actually launched it not at midnight Pacific Standard Time, but at 9 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, not 3 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, but at midnight Eastern Standard Time. Now, yes, you could say, well, a lot of people couldn't watch it the first night, but they could have watched it later that day. Hey, listen, people want to watch something when it drops. People want to see something when it drops. And I think them putting that out just a few hours earlier I personally think that made a big difference for what they had here. Also, if they're going by total hours watched, I wonder, are they just saying the premiere episode? Or are they saying both episodes? Because they did drop 2 episodes at once. So I am curious if they're counting that. I'm going to assume they just mean the premiere episode. At least I hope they just mean the premiere episode. But anyway, not surprised to hear this. Good on. Again, I loved the first episode of Obi-Wan. I liked the second episode of Obi-Wan. We'll talk more about Obi-Wan and the details later. But not surprised at all to hear that this many people tuned in. Rob, you're here on Disney Plus saying that now Obi-Wan, biggest launch ever for a Disney Plus original show. Any surprises to you? And if not, why do you think this is the case?
Well, no, but now I want to ask you a question quick. Does Ewan McGregor's comment about episodes 7, 8, 9, and 10 from yesterday, does this information give you, may change your opinion at all?
Okay, that for those of you who don't know what Rob is...
And I would ask this of Chris,
what Rob is asking here is that, of course, yesterday we talked about the fact that Ewan McGregor at Star Wars Celebration came out on stage in a surprise, and his final line was, "Guys, it was so great watching episodes 1 and 2 with you. I can't wait for you to watch episodes 3 and 4 and 5 and 6 and 7 and 8 and 9 and 10. Good night, everybody." Walked off stage. And so we talked yesterday, was, wait a minute, are they going to surprise us with 4 extra episodes? I don't think they are. Well, let's put it this way. They did not find out that Obi-Wan opened to their biggest numbers ever and then rushed into production of 4 episodes last night. So I'm going to say, no, it doesn't change my mind, but it does raise eyebrows for sure.
Yeah.
So, yeah, why do you think this thing launched this big?
Well, I think what you just said is exactly right. Even if you don't like the prequels, who doesn't love Obi-Wan Kenobi? And I have to say, of all the casting perhaps ever, when you're recasting a legacy character, Ewan McGregor
What a
was
Yeah,
I mean, it doesn't get much better than Ewan McGregor's. And Ewan McGregor's Obi-Wan, remember the first time when they're crouched down in Phantom Menace, like they're in the ship, and he first says, "Hello there," this is Obi-Wan Kenobi, and you're sold. Like, yes, I'm in. And you were, and he was great. And I think also because he's an original Star Wars character from the original film, there's a legitimacy there. George Lucas cast and directed Ewan McGregor. So there is a legitimate, he's, as far as it goes, that's about as legit as you get, you know, having Ewan McGregor come back. And look, who doesn't want that show to be great? The trailers were great. And like you, John, I liked the first episode a lot. I mean, I thought it did a really great job. I mean, it started in a place we kind of knew where it was going, but I thought it actually surprised me a bit. So I think everybody has to watch it.
Mm-hmm. Chris, you hear about this? They're saying this is the biggest launch of any original series they've had. Does that make sense to you? And what do you think maybe contributed to that?
Of course it makes sense. Our Lord and Savior, Obi-Wan Kenobi. Come on.
That's right.
Looking like Jesus. Yeah, he's back. I think, too, a lot of people who grew up with the prequels, that is their Star Wars, right? He is their Obi-Wan Kenobi, and then they experience the other films. So I think we do have a lovely mix of fans of the original trilogy, really like Ewan's performance, and they obviously love Star Wars. We have people who love the prequels, who really wanted to see him in action again. So I think we had a huge surge of just all types of Star Wars fans coming together for this one. It makes sense. And they have been pushing this show, so it's really nice to see it pay off for Disney, too.
And as you just pointed out, I mean, Ewan McGregor is kind of the star of the prequel trilogy. Yeah, you know, he's in all three movies, and and the climax, the battle with Anakin, and all that. I mean, and he's the one that takes us out. So, I mean,
one of our viewers shared a YouTube video with me yesterday because I was talking the other day about. Listen, there are good things about the final battle between Obi-Wan and thing, but I said, you know, I'll never get over the stupid thing where they stand in front of each other and twirl their lightsabers for like 5 hours. Somebody literally sent me a YouTube video yesterday where it's like 20 minutes of them just standing there doing so they took the clip of them doing the twirl and then just edited it together almost seamlessly. So it's just 20 minutes of them standing in front of each other doing this. I thought that was pretty funny. But you're right. I mean, I think for a lot of people, Obi-Wan Kenobi is an OG character. He's been around since my parents were going to the movie theaters. This iteration of Obi-Wan was the entryway for another generation of people coming into Star Wars. And the older generation appreciated him too. So it makes a lot of sense. The question is, will these numbers hold up? Will the series continue? Will the series be good enough to keep people interested all the way through the end of episode 6? And will there be a 7, 8, 9, and 10? I mean, I don't know. So the question is for you guys. What do you think about this? Obi-Wan is apparently the biggest launch ever for a Disney Plus original. That includes Marvel shows and Star Wars shows. Why do you think that is? Whatever your thoughts are, jump on down to the comment section below and let us know your thoughts. All right, guys. Now we're going to move into the main topics here today. But before we get into those, we want to take a quick second and thank one of the sponsors of today's episode of the John Campea Show. My watch is talking to me for some reason. Our friends over at Stamps.com. We want to take a moment and thank the sponsor of today's video, Stamps.com. Now, guys, as a small business owner myself, I'm always looking for ways to save costs, yes, but I know that our most valuable resource is time, and I'm always looking for things that can save us time. Stamps.com saves you both. Because when you're running a small business, every second counts. You can't afford to waste a single moment. So why are you still taking time out of your day to go to the post office when you could be using Stamps.com instead? Stamps.com makes mailing and shipping quick, easy, and cost-effective. How cost-effective? Well, you can get discounts that you can't find anywhere else, like up to 30% off USPS rates and 86% off UPS. And there's no special hardware technology you need. All you need is your regular computer and printer, no special supplies or equipment required. So guys, stop wasting time and start saving money when you use Stamps.com to mail and ship. Sign up with the promo code CAMPEA for a special offer that includes a 4-week trial plus free postage and a digital scale. No long-term commitments or contracts needed. Just go to Stamps.com, click on the microphone at the top of the page, and enter the code CAMPEA. And a big thank you to our friends at Stamps.com for sponsoring this episode of the John Campea Show. Remember, guys, all of our sponsors today, you'll find their links at the top of the description of this video. When you support our sponsors, you're actually supporting us as well. So thank you to you guys, and thank you to all of our sponsors. All right, guys. With
John.
That down. Oh, yes, Ray.
So we got a message from Never Lose Your Nerd.
One of our channel members.
He's been a member for 3 months. He says, hopefully member chat works this time. Love you guys as always. And the chat's been on fire. And the discussion should be good about sensitive subjects.
All right. Well, thank you for that, Never Lose Your Nerd. And thank you for being one of our members for 3 months. All right, guys. Now let's move into our main topics here today. And how do we select our main topics here on the John Campea Show? Well, it's really rather simple. You see, you guys come up with them. Whenever you come across a big topic, issue, or story that you guys feel we need to cover as a main topic here on the John Campea Show, just go anytime 24/7 over to www.thejohncampeashow.com/contact. Once you guys get there, you're going to see a form. Fill it out with your topic or question. It's absolutely free. Hit submit, and then maybe, just maybe, you might see your submission featured as a main topic here on the John Campea Show. With that down, Chris, what is our first main topic today?
Our first topic is going to come from Eric Falignow. Hi, John. With May ending to the huge success of Top Gun Maverick, I wanted to ask about June. There are a few big films coming out, and I was hoping you and the team could list and rank for us what movies you're most interested in and anticipating. If you could only pick one movie to see this month, which one would it be? Thanks, and bring on the filthy.
All right, thanks a lot for sending that in. And yes, it is Norman Osborn Day, is the end of May. So we are moving into June, and as we like to do around here, we're going to kind of talk about the movies that we are looking forward to in June. Now look, June is not as packed as a couple of the previous months have been, or a couple of the upcoming months have been, but there's some pretty good gold in there. Now, look, I should also mention here, as we're previewing what's coming out, we are only going to be mentioning the films that are getting wide release. There's not a lot of point in us talking about some of the films that you're not going to have playing anywhere near you. So we're going to kind of focus on the ones that are getting wide releases here. And we're going to start off with this. There's 5 big ones this month. 5 big wide releases we're going to talk about this month. One of them coming out on June 3rd is this little film that's getting, unfortunately, almost no marketing, called Watcher.
Oh, this looks so creepy.
It looks creepy as hell.
Mm-hmm.
And it's got really good critic responses. It's got north of 80% on Rotten Tomatoes already. Very good critic responses. Basic idea is this. This actress and her boyfriend move into an apartment in some new town, and there she always sees what she believes is somebody across the way in another building always looking into their apartment. And the paranoia that starts to create, and it just starts to unravel this huge chain of dominoes. The trailer is actually quite thrilling. I've not seen the film, and I've seen very, very little marketing for it, like other than this one trailer. But it does look pretty damn slick. So The Watcher is one that comes out on June 3rd. All right, June 10th. As we move 1 week further, we now get into June 10th, and that's when we start looking at Jurassic World Dominion. I ain't gonna lie. I am ridiculously excited for this movie. I have been...
What's it about?
Well, a dinosaur moves into an apartment. No, I have been... My excitement for Jurassic World Dominion has been tempered. Like, it's like, hey, it's a Jurassic World movie. I like all the Jurassic World movies. So yeah, I'm looking forward to this. Cool. But for whatever reason, I've been getting the bounty of my excitement overfloweth. Like, I'm really, really getting there. And I think, what I think it was, Rob? I think it was ever since that one trailer with that one shot that you talk about a lot, where like the dude's riding horses with a herd of like dinosaurs running across the open plain.
Yeah,
One that got Bobby emotional.
I got emotional.
Yeah.
But there was something that just felt, I don't know, holistic about the whole damn thing, right? And then, of course, some square in Italy with Tyrannosaurus Rexes running around eating people. I'm like watching this and like, what is there not to love? You got the original cast back, all that kind of stuff. So I, for one, am actually pretty stoked about this thing. And you know what? I almost forgot that it's really upon us. I feel like Jurassic World was coming out soon for the past 3 years.
Me too.
But it's actually now here. Like we're under 2 weeks away from it. So it's coming out. Where's your anticipation level like for this one right now?
Well, look, since I was a little kid, there's been nothing cooler than dinosaurs eating people. I mean, that's one of those, that's one of those things that is deep in my soul. And finally, this is a movie where dinosaurs are running around. I mean, look, I like the end of The Lost World, Tyrannosaurus in San Diego. That was cool. Mm-hmm. But there wasn't enough people eating, and it was at night. and they were hiding it in the darkness. This broad daylight, dinosaurs are running around. They clearly are cultured because they're in Europe. So they're going into the ancient cities, motorcycles riding through. I mean,
they only eat the finest people.
Yeah, they're like Hannibal Lecter. They eat. And look, I am so, and you see it when he comes out in the motorcycle in the square, and the poor dude's running. Dinosaur just grabs the guy, and eats him. And then there's dinosaurs attacking airplanes. I mean, John, this movie doesn't have to be about anything. All it needs to do is show me dinosaurs running around the Great Plains of America with people riding on horses and people getting eaten in Europe. And that's pretty much, that's all I want out of my summer movie going experience.
Chris, I don't know how you top that.
Oh,
And
man.
a redhead, Bryce Dallas Howard.
Yeah,
So.
it's got it ticks all your boxes.
Yeah.
I'm so excited about this. Dr. Ian Malcolm is the first live action man I ever fell in love with.
Wow.
I was so
whole
in love with him.
generation.
Yeah, like so many people. And this movie gives me him. I got Ellie back, and I've got a raptor at the Vatican. Like, this is perfect. This is
Raptor
wonderful.
at the Vatican could be either a great punk song or a great punk
That sounds
band.
like an
That's
Asylum
a good band
ripoff
name.
title.
Yeah.
For Asylum
There's
Studios.
Raptor Priest or something like that, right? Or
Yeah,
Raptor
yeah,
Pastor?
yeah.
The Raptor Pastor.
Yeah.
Don't laugh, man. That's for real. Raptor Pastor was for real. All right. So that's on June 10th. Now let's fast forward to the next week of June 17th.
Dude,
And that's when we're getting Lightyear.
come on.
Now look, they showed us, like, we were stunned when we were at CinemaCon and the president of pictures came out and he said, so now, ladies and gentlemen, this part of our presentation, we would like to show you the first 30 minutes of Lightyear. We're like, wait, what? Like, we were expecting to see a scene, a clip, maybe the first 10 minutes. We're going to show you the first 30 minutes of Lightyear. So they did that. They put it out. They showed us the first 30 minutes. There was laughing. There was crying.
So much crying.
There was gasping. There was, I mean, it was such a good first 30 minutes that it prompted me, you guys remember this, that when we went back to the hotel room to do our, Comic-Con or CinemaCon coverage video, I said, and I'm going to stand by this until I see the movie and it says otherwise. I said this, I'm calling it right now. Lightyear will become the fourth animated film in history to be nominated for Best Picture at the Academy Awards. It's only happened 3 times before, but based on just the first 30 minutes, I'm telling you, I think this is going to be the fourth. It just had everything. Chris, we got it now. It's like less than 3 weeks away. We're going to get to finally see the full thing.
I'm so excited.
Why are you excited for Lightyear?
Oh, the first 30 minutes of this were amazing. And I mean, we've talked about this on the show. It's not a huge spoiler or anything. The opening moment of this, right, in 1994, Andy had some toys. He got a Buzz Lightyear based on his favorite movie. This is that movie,
Yeah,
right?
it was perfect.
And it hits all those nostalgia buttons for anyone who grew up watching the Toy Story films, but also it's just great sci-fi. It is a compelling, excellent, heartfelt sci-fi film where I am way too invested in everybody already 30 minutes in. Like, there are certain characters where if anything happens to them, I will lose it. Oh, it's
Well,
going to
God,
be amazing.
this is how good the first 30 minutes were. I don't know if you knew this, I am not a cat guy.
Yeah.
I am not a cat guy. Other than Buzz. The cat is the best character in this movie.
So good.
You are going to love this cat because if I can love a cat, you can love a cat.
true.
But anyway, Rob, what were you thinking about Lightyear?
I feel I have to echo both of your sentiments. My esteemed colleagues are correct. The last thing in the world that I expected was to literally uncontrollable tears falling from my eyes. I did not expect that at all. There's a scene, I'm not going to say what it is, but it was a very, very, it packed an emotional wallop, as they say.
Yeah.
And it was so earned. And it was also, it did so in a sci-fi way. And I couldn't believe it. I couldn't believe how, I was so embarrassed because I was crying more than I normally do. Like I literally couldn't.
People were weeping in this
couldn't help myself.
auditorium.
It was one of those things where it really got me in a certain way, and I'm like trying to not, it's okay.
John asked if I was okay at one point.
Oh no! It's like, you okay? It's like,
And when I say that, I mean this movie is a action adventure, very buoyant, funny, emotional film. So I'm not saying it's like this. It's not some cry fest. It's not the Notebook for dudes.
But it's Pixar.
It
Pixar
is.
always makes you cry.
But it was so great because it was in a science fiction context, and it was something that only a science fiction context could do. But it did it in that way, and those Pixar people, they know, man, they know. But it was also the worst moment in my life when those 30 minutes ended.
Yeah.
oh
I'm
yeah,
like,
and everyone's like,
oh,
back
no.
on the screen.
Because
What are you doing?
you're so into it.
Yeah.
Boom.
Yeah, then the screen goes black. All right, so that is June 17th. That's Lightyear.
Hold on, John.
Are we about to make a box office bet?
How sure of you are you that this is going to get Best Picture?
I can't. Not until I see the movie in its entirety. I'm just basing that in the first 30 minutes.
All right, before you go on, Dante Sarakia wrote in, member for 3 months. He said, "Hey, Campea Campers, I just want to say thank you for everything. I love this show, and all of you keep up the excellent work."
Oh, thank you. Appreciate that,
thanks,
man.
Dante.
All right. Now let's fast forward to the following week after Lightyear for a movie that we didn't see the first 30 minutes of at CinemaCon, but rather we saw the whole damn thing. And that is the new Handsome Hawk movie, The Black Phone. All right. They had showed us a preview of The Black Phone at the previous CinemaCon. So Aaron and I were there and they showed us this like 5-minute preview of it at the previous CinemaCon. We're like, this looks really good. And then they showed us the whole movie. Now, Chris ducked out because she had another function to be at CinemaCon.
Yeah.
That went great.
And also, I'm a huge wimp.
This other
you wouldn't have had
function
a
she
good
went
time.
to was great. She had a great
It was
time.
great.
At
It was fun.
So we went in to go see The Black Phone. This might be my favorite Ethan Hawke movie.
Whoa.
Ever?
It might be.
More so than the before trilogy?
Yeah. I know. Listen, I'm not. Do not hold me to this. I need to think on it more. This another Blumhouse, made for pocket change, little horror movie, right? That looks like it's going to come and go. I was more impacted by this movie than it had any business impacting me.
Yep.
Like I'm watching this film, and I'm like, not only is it a great little horror movie, right? It's just I'm invested in these kids. And I got to tell you, the first little bit of the film, I was not. Like the first 10 minutes of it, I'm like, this is corny, whatever. But then it turns a corner pretty quickly in the first act. And all of a sudden I'm getting this community and I'm getting these characters. And then, oh my God, once you get into the situation that the whole movie is built around, the tension in this thing is palpable. I don't know if you guys know this, Aaron Cummings doesn't do all that great with horror films, but I saw she was literally, it's hard for me to explain, but she was literally acorned up. Like both of her knees right up in her chin, in this theater seat, arms wrapped around, kind of half covering her eyes, and I couldn't help myself. I could not help myself. There's this moment of really big intensity because she's like at times crying. She's so scared. But there was this 1 minute of big tension where everything's quiet. And I just go, yeah, to her. The phrase jumped out of her skin has never been more appropriate than at this moment. And she was so mad. She like literally turned around and started freaking Mike Tysoning my. I was like, you son of a bitch. I was like, Jane, you could hear people around us laughing. But anyway, guys, seriously, I'm not a huge horror movie guy. Like I like a horror movie as much as anybody. This movie is great. You got to look forward to this. What's the date of it again? June 24th. Make sure you guys check it out. Rob, June 24th, this thing's coming out. It feels like it's been a while since we've seen the movie already.
Yeah.
But would you recommend it for people?
Well, this is, again, Scott Derrickson and C. Robert Cargill who wrote it, teaming up. They came off of Doctor Strange. They didn't do the new Doctor Strange. This, to me, as a lifelong horror fan, I love seeing that people still know how to go back and do great low-budget horror.
Yeah.
And scare the heck out of you, because I mean,
Chris is not having it.
This film was a lot of fun. It delivered on its premise. It was really surprising and truly scary, and the audience really responded to it. It was a lot of fun, and it was unique. And I love the fact that people could still make great low budget horror that can succeed in a theater. We saw it. I mean, that was a packed house.
Yeah.
At CinemaCon, there was hundreds of people in that audience.
There were thousands of people.
There were thousands of people in the audience, and man, they dug it, and I loved it. I want to see it again. I want to take some people. I'm going to take Elizabeth to go see this, and I think she'll dig it. I'm excited.
Chris?
You have such a different idea of fun than me, man. But that's movies, right? People have different tastes. I love that you loved this. I can't wait to not watch this so hard.
I can't wait.
When I came back to the hotel, Aaron was like, you would have been mortified. She just was like, "This, you could not see this movie. I was crying. You would have just like been throwing up and left." So
There's no eye violence though.
oh, that's good.
no.
Yeah,
Okay,
so you'll be okay. There.
I can deal with that.
Not a lot of eye violence. Ray, you saw
how
the movie
scary
with
can a
us.
phone be?
I actually really love this movie. I think we got the best screenings ever, like at CinemaCon.
Yeah, because we
Full
got that in
movie-wise.
Top Gun. They showed us the
Yeah.
full Top Gun and the black phone.
So where we were staying, we had the room all the way at the end of the hallway. So after we watched this movie, I was like, Rob, come on, let's go back to the room. I don't want Black Phone to get me.
I don't want the black phone again.
Well, it was. We had to walk down that really long, very shining-esque corridor.
Our hallways
And
were
our doors at
creepy.
the very end of the hallway, you know.
And then every now and then you'd see like on the all the way at the other side, like I bet you it was like the people who were cleaning the rooms. The door would close all the way at the other end as soon as you walked out, and then I'll be like, oh, maybe I'll wait a little bit.
maybe I'll wait.
But the
Maybe I'll
movie
wait
was
just a little
good.
bit.
I think everyone should see it.
Yeah, it was really good.
It's really
All right.
good.
a lot of fun.
So that is June 24th. But there's another premium movie opening on June 24th that they showed us like 10 plus minutes of footage. And that is the new Baz Luhrmann film, Elvis.
Man.
And there's a lot of people talking about Elvis and this movie. Right now, very strong, 80+% on Rotten Tomatoes. Everything they have shown us about this movie has looked utterly fantastic, right? But classic to Baz Luhrmann's style, his style is not going to be for everybody.
Right.
One of his films, Moulin Rouge, is one of my personal top 20 favorite films of all time. Moulin Rouge to me is just what movie making is all about. It's all about movie magic. But it's not for everybody.
Right.
I wanted to read this because this to me is funny. This is the review, the opening of the review for Elvis, done by one of my favorite outlets, IndieWire.
I read it. Okay, I'm glad you're reading this.
Because
I read this review.
well, I love what we've seen so far from Elvis, and it's getting very strong reviews. Again, it's not for everybody, and that's fair. Like our reviewer over here at IndieWire who wrote the following. It doesn't matter if you do 10 stupid things, so long as you do one smart one. Colonel Tom Parker advises us near the start of Baz Luhrmann's utterly deranged musical biopic about the king of rock and roll. But even a ratio that forgiving would still leave Elvis roughly 370 smart ones short. If only this 159-minute eyesore, a sadistically monotonous super montage in which a weird Flemish guy manipulates some naive young greaser over and over and over again until they both get sad and die, were gracious enough to be as short in any other respect. Okay. I don't care how great I think this movie is. I will always love this movie review. Even if I think Elvis is the greatest film of all time, I will always cherish this movie review. Sounds great. Anyway, Chris, you saw all the footage for Elvis that we saw. Where's your anticipation level for it?
I mean, you know how much I loved Lightyear, and I'm excited to see the rest of that movie. This is my most anticipated film for June. And now with that review, I'm kind of more excited. Because if it is that, I'm going to be like, oh, this is great. Let's watch this dumpster fire. I love Baz Luhrmann, though, and I'm with you. Moulin Rouge is one of my all-time favorites. I think it's such a great film. I love him as a director. He's such a little weirdo.
By the way, his Romeo and Juliet is kind of underrated.
so
Not enough people
Totally
talk about
underrated.
Romeo and
Oh, my
Juliet.
Well, you know,
gosh.
John, the review that you just read, there was a lot of people. I remember when Moulin Rouge came out, people were like, it's too many cuts. It's too fast. And I was like, but that's, when I saw it like you, I love Moulin Rouge. And I'm like, but that's why it's cool.
Yeah.
You know, the use of montage, the use of pop music and the way it was done, the camera was moving all over the place. I mean, as a pure piece of cinema, I loved it. And if that's what we're getting with Elvis, come on, dude.
Again, I just want to read the one line again. A sadistically monotonous super montage in which a weird Flemish guy manipulates some naive young greaser over and over until they both get sad and die. That's great writing right there. That is great writing. I don't care how good this movie is. That is some great writing. Anyway, guys, once again, that is Elvis coming out the 24th. So just to recap, here are the big ones to look out for this month. We got The Watcher on June 3rd. So that's coming out then. Let's bring that up on the screen there, Jonathan. So we got The Watcher on June 3rd. And then we've got Jurassic World Dominion coming out on June 10th, the following week. The week after that, by the way, these are 3 dynamite back-to-back weeks. Jurassic World Dominion on June 10th, Lightyear on June 17th, and then the very next week on the 24th, The Black Phone. And then I am very excited about checking out Elvis, even more so because of IndieWire's review, which is again so great. So let me ask you around here, fact checker Jonathan, let me start with you. Watcher, Jurassic World, Lightyear, Black Phone, Elvis. Which one's your most anticipated out of those ones?
I'm going to go with Elvis because I just love the history of rock and roll. And I do like Baz Luhrmann. I think Moulin Rouge is probably my favorite of his films. And then I'd say from there, maybe Black Phone, just because it's gotten such like killer reviews, especially by you guys have really loved it. Jurassic World, honestly, I'm checked out. And then Lightyear.
Ray, which of the 5 is the one you're looking forward to the most?
I thought we were together on this. Jurassic World.
When they started killing dinosaurs on that, I stopped watching the movie when the Brachiosaurus died on the goddamn docks.
That was heartbreaking.
Then I
That
stopped
was
watching
a
the movie, turned it off, I'm
traumatic
out.
Yeah, it
moment.
was.
Yeah.
It's
So Ray, for
gotta
you,
be
it's Jurassic World?
Jurassic, and then Black Phone, and then Lightyear.
Rob, which one are you looking forward to the most?
First of all, John, my number 1 is not any of these, and I'm very disappointed in you.
Oh, I know.
Is there a
what it
wide
is.
release that I missed?
I don't know how wide it is, but it opens this weekend, and it's a great Canadian kid, my favorite Canadian director,
Okay. I know
coming
we're-
off of his Cannes triumph, David Cronenberg's Crimes
Right.
of the Future.
Which is not a wide release, but that's why we didn't get it on there.
It is
Yes.
opening at our theater what we saw Spider-Man and Doctor Strange.
Right.
It's
Yeah, in
opening
Los
in-
Angeles.
I'm going to the Riverside. What is it? What is that called?
The Tyler Galleria.
It opens on Thursday. I'm going, but I can't wait. But other than I can't believe you skipped over, even if it's not a wide release. It's a good Canadian kid. But no, I think that of these, I have to say Lightyear. Lightyear's probably the one I'm most excited about, only because of the emotional response I had to it.
Mm-hmm.
But I do want to see a lot of people die at the hands of dinosaurs. I want to see chomping. I want to see blood. I want to see people being torn asunder and thrown all over the place.
Yeah.
Chris, which of these ones are you most excited about?
So Elvis just inches out Lightyear for me, especially after that review. That's fantastic.
Yeah.
Then I'd have Lightyear. Way far, far away from me is Black Phone. What was the one about the woman who gets stalked?
Watcher.
Watcher. I think I actually will see that.
And that is a wide release, huh?
Yeah. That's
Yes.
wild.
Now, you guys keep talking about that for a second.
'Cause
I'm putting in a poll into the live chat.
That trailer, though, that Watcher trailer, I caught up with that trailer too. But I didn't realize it was a wide release.
Mm-hmm.
But it looks like it's a movie right up your alley.
It looks terrifying.
Yeah, well.
And it's every
I don't
woman's
understand.
fear of
I
just
don't-
being stalked.
Have you just never watched horror films?
No, I've seen them. Not all of them.
And they just don't work for you?
No, I don't like them.
Have you ever seen The Exorcist?
I have seen The Exorcist. I'm Catholic, man.
Well, that's one of the scariest movies ever.
It's terrifying. Logan makes fun of me all the time because I think the walking on her fingies is so horrifying.
That's in the director's cut.
Oh, it's awful.
All right. I'm going to let you guys know, for those of you watching live, I just put up a poll in the live chat for those of you who are watching live. And it's a very simple poll. It is simply asking, which movie are you most looking forward to? Now, I left, it only allowed me to put in 4 options, so I left out the Watcher. But we put in Black Phone, Lightyear, Jurassic World, and Elvis. So you guys can go into that and let us know which is the one you are most looking forward to. And guys, what do you think about the month of June? There's not a ton of wide releases this month, but some pretty high-profile ones. For me, the one I'm most excited for people to see is the Black Phone. The one I'm most excited to see is Lightyear. That's the one for me. So what do you guys think? Jump down to the comment section below and let us know your thoughts. Okay, guys, with that down, let's get into main topic number 2, shall we? Chris, what is our second main topic today?
From Michael Johnson. Hi, John. Whether it was Avengers that got studios on the shared cinematic universe train, Harry Potter and the Philosopher's Stone that made studios adapt any book series to film, etc., whenever a movie is a huge success at the box office, we often see many other films that try to replicate the original success. So with Top Gun Maverick already out the gate to a success, what other standalone 80s film could we see get a decades later sequel? My bet, E.T. the Extra-Terrestrial. What are your thoughts?
All right, thanks a lot for sending that in, Michael. And yeah, of course, we've got Top Gun Maverick, who, despite me for a lot of years saying, this movie's too little too late. I don't know that there's a general interest for it anymore. Until a year and a half ago when I saw the first 15 minutes of it. And I'm like, nope, I take that back. People are going to want to see this. This movie has been breaking records. It just set the Memorial Day weekend record. It set the record for the biggest opening for a Tom Cruise movie in history. It's the biggest opening of a non-Disney or DC film in 4 years. Since I think the last Jurassic movie came out. I mean, it has just been shattering records left, right, and people are loving. It's got an A+ cinema score. It's got a 95+ Rotten Tomatoes rating. It is fantastic. So now, of course, because we live in a society that is formula centric and everybody looks for the formula, everybody's asking, well, what's the next 80s popular IP that they should reinvigorate and bring back? And you know what? Variety wrote a really interesting article. I think it was Variety, where I think the headline of it was basically, let's hope Hollywood doesn't get the wrong message from the success of Top Gun. Because make no mistake about it, let's be clear. Top Gun did not succeed because it's an old popular 80s IP. Top Gun succeeds because it's a great movie. It's thrilling. The characters are ones that endear themselves to the audience. The action is intense. Emotion from the audience is elicited in different ways at different points through the film. You laugh, you cry, and by the time the screen goes dark and Lady Gaga starts to play, you find yourself a little bit exhausted because you just realize you had a hell of an experience and a lot of fun. The word of mouth has been spectacular about it. The trailers have been very good. You can't say, well, it's because Tom Cruise. Tom Cruise has never opened a movie to over $65 million.
Even the Mission Impossible movies.
Even the Mission Impossible movies, he's never opened that big. You can't say because if it's an 80 properties. We've seen lots of 80 properties try to get revisited and not have that kind of success. It's because it's such a good movie. But because we live in the time that we do now, everybody, including fans and studios alike, are now kind of looking over with drooling mouths. What's the next 80s property we need to come back and visit you? And I'm going to start with one that you already brought up.
Summer School.
Summer School.
Summer School's awesome.
Mark
Harmon needs to come back. He's looking for it again. Summer School. Listen, he brought up E.T. And I'll tell you why he's absolutely right. E.T. has always begged for there to be a sequel. I mean, really, it's like with the end, that movie, phone home, Elliot, bye, whatever, all that kind of stuff. One of the most magical, special things. And I'll tell you why it could possibly be one of those, because if you want to talk about movies that found their way into the very hearts of people when they watched it, E.T.'s near the top of that list. Everybody loves E.T. I've never talked to a person that's ever seen E.T. and said, I don't get it. And I'm sure there are films that are subjective. I'm sure those people are out there. E.T. is beloved, but I'll tell you what, the story itself sets itself up now because you had Elliot say goodbye to this alien when he was just a kid. Elliot now has his own kids. And I'll tell you, that leads to the biggest reason why I can tell you this is going to work. Because was it a Super Bowl ad where they went and got the real kid who played Elliot? They went and got the actor.
Henry Thomas.
And what was it, a battery commercial? It was a battery commercial. They brought him back last year, and now he was an adult Elliot with kids of his own. And they looked out the back window, and E.T. came back to visit him. Aww. And everybody lost their minds over that commercial. There is a love and a desire to see it. Now, again, I'm not saying they should rush out and make E.T. 2. I'm not saying that. I'm just saying, if you're a studio or a fan and you're looking at old 80s IP that you think could have a chance of success and having the type of Top Gun Maverick success, look me in the eye and tell me that people wouldn't rush to the theaters to see another E.T., especially if Steven Spielberg came back and directed that. They would. All right. So there's that one.
By the way, E.T. turns 40 next month.
Oh, my God.
Its 40th anniversary is next.
Aww.
Oh, my God. And you got to do practical costume.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
And this is because the way they made him in the first one, it's okay to do him practical costume again. I would say another one that I really do think you can come back to, and they've tried, Beverly Hills Cop. I think the way things are today, I think that whole format of a comedy and action and whatever, I think that's something you can totally come back to. Eddie Murphy has enjoyed a little bit of a resurgence in the last couple of years with Dolomite and things like that. We won't talk about Coming to America too, but he's probably as high on a lot of people's lists as he's ever been. I think that's one you can revisit, and that kind of checks off that that kind of like the action comedy kind of part of it too. I know, Rob, when you think about that and we look at the success that Top Gun is having, are there any big 80s films that you stand out that you think could have that kind of Top Gun Maverick success?
I don't know if I can have Top Gun Maverick success, but I do have one that I would revisit. Ferris Bueller.
Oh, wow.
Ferris Bueller, you bring the cast back. They're all around.
He's got his kids of his own now.
Ferris Bueller's Year Off.
Oh, my God.
You know?
And it's based on the pandemic, he's been working remotely for so long. Now he doesn't want to go back.
There's so much stuff that you could do with Ferris Bueller. What is Cameron and Ferris now that they're in our day and age? You know,
by the way, was Cameron not end up being the captain of a starship?
Yes, the Enterprise B, Captain
right.
Harriman.
That's right.
In Generations. Yes, good. That's good, John. I'm proud of you. He brought up Star Trek. I didn't.
Let the record show.
I didn't. Let the record show. Yeah, but I think, and you know, to a certain extent, the one time that I actually spoke to Tom Cruise, I said I would love a sequel to Risky Business. About that riskier business, about what happens when Tom Cruise, he has a kid that's just like, you know, looks like University of Illinois. But Ferris Bueller, I think because Risky Business is more of a culty title compared to Ferris Bueller. I think more people know Ferris Bueller. And I think, you know, Matthew Broderick has had such a diverse career. He's been on Broadway and the producers, and he's still around. And I think, what are these guys like now? And I really think that, I mean, obviously John Hughes is no longer with us, but if you got, it would need, I mean, I don't know who should make this movie, but I think it could be great. And I would call it Ferris Bueller's Year Off.
That's a good one.
You know?
What about you, Chris? Can you think of any 80s classics that you think could enjoy a Top Gun Maverick kind of resurgence?
Quirky Joe had a great suggestion of Mac and Me with Paul Rudd.
Oh, no.
And I think that's genius.
That is classic.
That is incredible, Joe. Thank you so much. I mean, I'm not really sure. A lot of other people are talking about one of your favorite movies here, Rob, Goonies. We could bring back Goonies.
Oh, yeah, they've tried. They've been trying to bring back Goonies for a long time.
There was a TV show they tried to do, right, that didn't go to air. See, I don't know a lot of action movies from the 80s. The first thing that popped in my mind was I was like, I want more Labyrinth. But we don't have David Bowie, so what's the point?
Yeah, I mean,
I have one for sure. I've been saying for a long time, The Last Starfighter.
Oh, dude, how long
one.
have I been saying The Last Starfighter? I mean, but did it come out in the 80s? Yes, it did. 84.
It was one of the first to use CGI, too, with that spaceship.
Right after Tron.
Yep.
Yeah, and look, the CGI does not hold up.
Yeah.
but I have been preaching the gospel of The Last Starfighter ever since I did the movie blog. I mean, I love that movie so much. And today, with the popularity of video gaming today and all that kind of stuff, it's never been more on target.
I want to see The Wizard.
Oh, and mention that one too.
The Wizard or Big.
Oh, with
of
the Wizard was Fred Savage,
Fred
right?
Savage.
Yeah.
It's when that little kid is super good at video games.
Wait a minute. What if you did Big, but now Tom Hanks comes across that Zoltar machine again, only this time it makes him 13.
Aww.
Only this time it makes him 13, and it's totally in reverse.
What do you name it? Not small or little, but something.
I was going to say, isn't there a little movie?
Big Again?
Where it's the girl from...
Yeah, they did that. They did that one where it's kind of like the reverse a little bit. But now it's going to be called Big Again. I don't know. That one could kind of work. Anyway, guys, question is for you. Do you have like a big 80s title that you think could kind of maybe enjoy the same kind of resurgence that we saw Top Gun Maverick had? Again, we understand it ain't about the formula. Top Gun Maverick succeeded because it was a great movie. But what do you guys think? Jump down into the comment section below and let us know your thoughts. Okay, guys, with that down, let's move on to main topic number 3. Chris, what is our third main topic today?
Our third topic comes from Eric Thomas. Hey, John and crew, the trailer for Disney Plus's Pinocchio just dropped, and it looks very charming. It's a teaser, and so it doesn't show much, but I think what it shows is quite convincing. It drops on Disney Plus on September 8th in the mad streaming storm of She-Hulk, House of the Dragon, Andor, Lord of the Rings, and Cobra Kai. What a time to be alive. What did you guys think of the trailer?
All right. Yeah. Listen, I remember when we found out that Tom Hanks, we were just talking about Tom Hanks, was going to play Geppetto. I mean, come on. Tom Hanks is America's dad.
Yeah.
Everybody loves Tom Hanks. I still remember this one great headline article. It turns out I didn't notice it was from The Onion, or else I would have picked up right away. It's like a young aspiring actress in Hollywood breaks silence and shocking experience with Tom Hanks. And then you were like, whoa, and then all of America went, no! And then you open up the article and it's like, she was in a restaurant and couldn't afford her lunch, and Tom Hanks paid for it. And and this long list of these shocking revelations of Tom Hanks all doing all these amazing things coming out. Right. Anyway, that being said, so been kind of waiting for this new take on Pinocchio. Right. So they teased yesterday online that they were going to be dropping their first trailer for Pinocchio today, and they showed it. And to quote, is it Dr. Malcolm? Is that his name? Malcolm in Jurassic Park?
Yeah.
Malcolm.
Yeah.
Malcolm.
To semi-quote Malcolm, you do plan to have Pinocchio in this Pinocchio movie at some point, yes? The first Pinocchio movie trailer came out, with no Pinocchio. I mean, I get it. You probably but John, they're trying to save it as a surprise for how Pinocchio looks. Are you going to show him at some point before the movie comes out? Yes? Okay. This is the first trailer. Why not let us see him? I mean, if you just watch this trailer, you'd think it was the Jiminy Cricket movie. Mm-hmm. And which, by the way, does look really good.
I'm there for that.
Yeah. That he looked pretty good. I love that Luke Evans is in it. I love, there's a lot of things I like about
Cynthia Erivo.
Yep. And as the Blue Fairy, I'm just watching this and I'm like, okay, this movie is called Pinocchio, right? Just double checking my facts. Yes. Okay. It's called Pinocchio. Where the fuck is Pinocchio? And I don't want to hear this. Oh no, they're saving. No, we all know how Pinocchio looks. I don't get, again, there were things I liked about the trailer. I did, but I'm not walking away from this trailer with a heightened excitement to see it. I'm walking away from this trailer going, it was a Pinocchio trailer with no Pinocchio. And to me, that just seems odd. And yeah, listen, you can accuse me and thinking maybe I'm being nitpicky or whatever. I think it's kind of a big deal if you did a Lightyear trailer and there was no Lightyear in it. I mean, this is just me. I don't know. Chris, you had a chance to watch this trailer for Pinocchio. What did you think?
I was just so enamored with it that I didn't care. I was just like, oh, look at the Blue Fairy, and oh, Tom Hanks with his Geppetto hair. Oh, he's so cute.
And given the classic first star I see
That was
tonight.
awesome.
That was really good.
so
That was a really good
great.
moment. It really was.
So now looking back at it, I'm like, oh yeah, Pinocchio.
That's right. This is a Pinocchio
There's
movie.
supposed to be a little wooden boy in this movie. Shit. Okay. It looks charming.
Rob, you had a chance to see it. What did you think?
I have to echo the sentiment you have here, John. I wanted to hear Pinocchio's voice. I mean,
Yeah?
you heard Geppetto, and I thought there was going to be like an end tag where Pinocchio would say something.
Just pops out the end.
But
I got no strings.
Something, you know. I mean, even if Ultron showed up, on me.
Strings on me.
And I was kind of disappointed, to be honest. But I thought the trailer looked great. I mean, everything else looked really cool. It had that. I mean, come on, it's Robert Zemeckis.
Yeah.
You know, and the camera pushing in from the low angle onto Geppetto, and you could see the movie has a real sense of wonder.
Yeah.
That's what you want. You want wonder. From
And being
Pinocchio.
Zemeckis, it'll also have a real sense of style to
Yeah,
it.
absolutely. And I love the way it looked. I mean, it was very evocative of both the original animation, but it had that great fairy tale feel to it. And I thought it looked great, but I loved everything in it, but I did want to get a little, I want to hear his voice. Who does Pinocchio's voice?
I read the name and I don't know who the
But
kid
that's
is.
what I was dying. I'm like, what does he sound like?
I'm a real boy.
I didn't get it.
You listen to me, Tom Hanks. It's my name on the rider. I'm number one on the call sheet, bitch.
Yes.
Runs off.
Yeah. That.
You know who's going to be playing Pinocchio, though, right?
Who's that?
Brock Lesnar. That's why they're saving it.
Listen, Geppetto, I'm going to go home and lay on my wife. That was an infamous Brock Lesnar line for those of you who don't know. I'll never forget
It
that.
actually looks good. I was just watching it right now on mute because I forgot to watch it, but
It looks good,
looks
right?
good.
And the Jiminy
looks
Cricket
good.
looks really good.
I honestly, I feel bad because I literally don't have any other criticism for it. It looks good. I love the little starlight prayer he's doing.
Yeah.
The appearance of the Blue Fairy. I like seeing Luke Evans. I do. But again, I just can't get over this one rather significant elephant in the room. It's a movie called Pinocchio, and we didn't get to see any Pinocchio. That's just weird to me. That's all. It's like watching a Captain America trailer and there was no Captain America. So it's just kind of weird. Anyway, guys, question is for you. Did you guys have a chance to see this trailer for Pinocchio? If so, what did you think? Were you kind of bothered like I was about the fact that there's no Pinocchio? Or were you able to just see past that and just see all the good stuff that is in the trailer? Whatever you guys thought, jump down into the comment section below and leave us your thoughts. Right.
Before you go on, Joe Adonis, member for 3 months, he wrote The Last Starfighter sequel is in development / production with Rogue One writer Gary Whitta.
But it is, let's be very clear. It is not in production. It has not been greenlit. They've been talking about trying to get this pulled together for a very, very long time. So don't hold your breath on that at this point, just so you know. All right, guys. With that down, before we get into our next topic here today, if Pinocchio was a real boy, he wouldn't want to chafe. He would get himself MeUndies. Let's go to that ad there. We want to take a second and thank the sponsors of this video, MeUndies. Guys, when you've got a job like mine where you're sitting down talking about movies or sitting down and watching a lot of movies, you learn to appreciate a really good pair of underwear. And this summer, guys, why suffer through junk swamp with that 20 pairs in a plastic bag junk that we normally buy for ourselves when you could be enjoying this summer wearing the most breathable, softest, most comfortable underwear out there, MeUndies. I've been wearing MeUndies for a little while now, and I'm telling you, I am never going back. Because let's face it, guys, summer is sweaty, but your butt doesn't have to be. With MeUndies light and breathable micro model fabric, you can stay comfy and cool all summer long. They have super fun seasonal prints and tons of styles to choose from in any size from extra small to 4XL, so you can bring the beach to your butt without ever leaving your living room. Make it a soft summer with MeUndies. MeUndies has a great offer for my viewers and listeners. For any first-time purchasers, you get 15% off. If you sign up for their free-to-join membership, you can apply that 15% off to their already discounted membership prices. So to get 15% off your first order and 100% satisfaction guarantee, go to MeUndies.com/Campea. That's MeUndies.com/Campea. And a big thanks to MeUndies for making my bottom feel so smooth and for sponsoring this episode of the John Campea Show. And damn it, I'm going to be regretting this all day because after I made up that segue into the thing where I said, Pinocchio doesn't want his butt to shake, the ad started, and as soon as the ad started and the mics went off, Chris says, what did you say?
Not a protect your wood?
The segue should have been protect your wood.
Protect your wood.
Oh! Anyway, that's going to be a missed opportunity I'm going to regret for the rest of the day. All right, guys.
She's a professional.
This is what I bring to this show.
That Chris Carr is a professional.
Just very highbrow dick jokes about Disney characters.
All right, let's now move on to main topic number 4. Chris, what is our 4th main topic today?
This is from Darren Oliver. District 9 has always been a mystery to me. How did a movie that was so profitable and got nominated for Best Picture at the Academy Awards not get a sequel? So I just saw that the director is now saying they're working on the sequel now and that we should expect a major announcement soon. So does this mean we're finally getting District 10? Thoughts?
All right. Thanks a lot for sending that in. And yeah, listen, District 9 was this movie that just came out of nowhere. Good Canadian kid, Neil Blomkamp, went to film school in Canada and all this kind of stuff. And he had made a short film on District 9. Mm-hmm. And it caught the attention of some people, including Peter Jackson. And they decided they were going to make this movie District 9. That they made this visual effects CGI way ahead of its time film. They made it for $30 million, this movie. The movie went on to make about 7 times its production budget and got nominated, by the way, for Best Picture at the Academy Awards. And there was never a sequel, despite the fact that Sharlto Copley at the end of the film was clearly set up for a sequel.
Yeah.
The ending of that film was just screaming, come back next year, guys, for District 10. And yet nothing ever happened. Then, things started to go a little bit south because we got Elysium, which a lot of people were very excited about from Neil Blomkamp, right? It was not very good.
No.
I mean, all film is subjective. I'm sure it has its fans. And if you're one of them, awesome. But despite the fact that I was super excited for that movie, the cast, you had Jodie Foster in there, you had Matt Damon in there. I mean, it was a fantastic cast. You had Copley back in it. Wasn't very good. Then he did Chappie. which I really thought was quite bad. And so the question started to become, can he make films that aren't like his own sandbox kind of stuff? I mean, I just don't know. Then he was supposed to do an Aliens.
Yeah.
And then that got pulled. A lot of people said that it was Ridley Scott that ultimately pulled the plug on that. I mean, whether that's true or not, I'm not really sure. But there's always been this one big thing hanging there. Where is District 10? And he said for a number of years, I'm working on it. We're going to do this. Obviously not greenlit anywhere. But now finally, he's saying we're going to get news real soon. This comes to us from the folks over at Screen Rant who wrote the following. It now seems that the film might not be too far off, as Blomkamp reveals in an interview with Dexerto while discussing his work on Gunzilla Games' new Battle Royale multiplayer shooter Off the Grid. Blomkamp gives a small District 10 movie update, confirming he is still working on it. He also outlines that it shouldn't be too long until further information releases. Finding the quote below, and this is what Neil said, he said, "I am still working on it, District 10. The answer is it's within the near future. It's within the near future." All right. I really want to see another District 9 movie. Like, just the creativity, the way that they were able to make it real. Aliens landed on Earth, and yet they made it feel like real world problems were happening. Like, and of course, the entire movie is one big analogy for real world racism and issues and stuff like that, particularly growing up in like South Africa would have shown them, right? So
Immigration.
yeah, like all these types of issues. It's a big analogy for all of it. And it just felt so grounded, and it felt so like it had its finger on the pulse of what was actually happening in culture and society, done with this fantastical sci-fi context. It was just brilliantly done, and it felt fantastic. They should have rushed this thing into production almost immediately. And I wonder if it's too late. Now, to be fair, I also wonder the same thing about Top Gun. And here we are. But still, I do have to wonder, has the time for a potential District 10 come and gone? I'm going to say I'm not sure. I'm not really sure. I know I would still be very excited to see it. I don't know if there's a ton of people that would be excited to see it. That's the only problem. I just don't know at this point. But if they decide to do it, sign me up. Look, it needs to be noted here that while he's saying he's working on it, there are 500 coffee shops across LA right now with 200 screenwriters in each of them working on something right now that's never going to get made. So this is not saying that a District 10 is ever actually going to happen. I don't know if at this point if a studio would greenlight it. I really don't. I hope they would, but we'll have to see. Rob, let me ask a couple questions here. Number one, what were your general thoughts about District 9? Number two, do you think there is an audience for District 10 today, and would it be something you'd want to see?
Yeah, I mean, I have to say, I think it's called Alive in Joburg, which is the first short film that Blomkamp made that became District 9. I remember seeing that. That was like one of the first earliest things I ever watched on the internet. You know, when it got, like, maybe on YouTube, I saw it.
The effects were so good.
So good. And you know, I'm always looking for verisimilitude. All of District 9, just the idea of the ship, we'd seen ships float in space in like V and Independence Day.
Yeah.
But there was something about, you know, I love the idea that if aliens came to Earth and their ship was disabled, it just happened to land on top of Johannesburg. Like, it didn't come to New York or Paris or Washington, D.C., where it entered the Earth's atmosphere. It just settled there. That's where they had to be. And it really, like all great science fiction, dealing with the idea of how does our population deal with an alien population, and how do you integrate? You know, there's the other movie that came out that Gail Ann produced, not Enemy Mine, but you know, the one with James Caan, Mandy Patinkin, the cop movie that they made the TV series of.
Yeah.
Why am I drawing a blank on that?
Enemy Nation? No.
Alienation.
Alienation. That's what it is.
Alienation. Great title. But Alienation kind of dealt with the same things. The TV show was really good. I thought that it was a really clever, I love allegorical science fiction, and I thought it was really clever. But now, you know, with the immigration problems we've had on our southern border, and the how it became a really divisive political issue in this country. Well, what would happen? Like, I would love to see, like, what would happen. You could always and now we've got refugees that traveled through all of Europe because of various conflicts. So the idea of immigration and integrating new populations into countries is more relevant than ever. And I think that doing a District 10 and dealing with our real world problems in the context of a science fiction action adventure movie, it could be really good. And I think that with the kind of effects, because it's not just about whether the effects are good, it's how you present them.
Yeah.
And the effects in this movie were so well designed. I mean, man, when he's transforming, even there's body horror in this movie, and I loved it. And I would love to see them tackle another version of this movie because there's so much more to say.
And nobody would expect that he could do it today for $30 million.
No.
But do it for 70.
Yeah.
If he could do something like this for $70 million, whereas other studios and other filmmakers minimum I need is $215 million to do it. I mean, that would be a bit of a coup.
Yeah, I think so too. What do you think?
I want this movie made so much. I was still in college when this movie came out. I have wasted a whole college degree in education since then. What are you doing? What are you doing? Give me this movie. It's amazing, and it's grounded, and it's Kafka-esque, and I want it now.
But
and I think,
do you think a lot of people do, and do you think a studio would feel like they could get an audience, and do you think a studio could actually greenlight this?
I think people still talk about this movie enough that they would be interested in a sequel. I really, really do. And I think it was nominated for an Academy Award. It's such a great film. And I think a studio would want to get behind this, especially when it was made relatively inexpensively, right? And this was a movie that didn't just appeal to sci-fi folks too, right? It was something that anyone I talked to, they were so into this because it was an allegory for other things.
Yeah.
Or because they were a sci-fi fan. Or because they did go, oh my gosh, this reminds me of Metamorphosis. It's a great story, and I think a lot of people would want to see a sequel.
Guys, question is for you. What did you think about District 9? Do you and your circle of friends still talk about it? What do you think about the possibility of another one getting made? He's saying he's working on it. Do you think a studio will actually finance it at this point? If so, would you run out to the theaters to go see it? I know I would. Whatever you guys think, jump down to the comment section below and let us know your thoughts. All right, guys. With that down, let's move on to main topic number 5. Chris, what is our 5th main topic today?
This comes from Count Kenny. Hey, everybody. So last night, the Star Wars social media accounts posted a message telling fans to not be racist. This is in response to Riva actress Moses Ingram posting the many racist DMs and threats she's received. Unfortunately, this kind of toxic behavior is common when you look at what's happened with John Boyega, Kelly Marie Tran, and even Ahmed Best. What are your thoughts on the matter?
All right. Thanks a lot for saying that in, Count Kenny. And listen, I'm going to let you know, my staff doesn't know this, but this is one of those issues that has the potential to get a lot of people upset and angry. So I'm just going to address this one myself. So if you want to get upset or angry at anybody, get upset and angry at me because I don't care. So here's what happens. Obi-Wan comes out. And of course, Moses Ingram, who was really good in her relatively small part, though, in the absolutely phenomenal The Tragedy of Macbeth. By the way, if you're going to be in The Tragedy of Macbeth, you got to have talent on your shoulders. She was also I enjoyed her quite a lot in Queen's Gambit. She's a good actress. But I will be the first one to tell you that in watching Obi-Wan, I would say probably my least favorite thing about it, the one problem I had with Obi-Wan, and Rob, you and I discussed this when we did the open spoiler discussion and what have you, and I said right out, I found the performance of Riva by Moses Ingram to be one note and to be flat. And I didn't like that performance. Now, I'm open to the idea that is actually done purposefully as a stepping stone to something that's going to happen for the character later, all that kind of stuff. I believe she's a good actress. I just didn't like the creative choices made in this particular thing. I didn't like it. And you know what? It's okay. Maybe, I love the performance of little girl Leia. It's okay if you didn't. I love the performance of Ewan McGregor. It's okay if you didn't. I love Kumail Nanjiani, but I wasn't super thrilled with that character. But if you did, that's okay. So there is nothing wrong with not liking a performance or a character, whatever. You know what? Didn't work for me. And that's perfectly okay. And there's nothing wrong with that. What does become a problem, though, and unfortunately this seeps its way more and more into popular fandom. We're even seeing it seep a little bit into MCU fandom and DC fandom, and hell, even some Harry Potter fandom, whatever. But certainly it's been most prevalent in our beloved Star Wars fandom, where a young actress like Moses Ingram, who's been given the dream of a lifetime and hired to come in to play a role, she has to log on to her social media, flooded with hundreds, which now they're saying is thousands, of messages that aren't just saying, I didn't like your performance in that movie, which why you would write to somebody specifically just to say, hey, this isn't going to help me at all. I just want to ruin your day a little bit by telling you that I didn't like your performance. But whatever, that would be one thing. But literally people writing to her with the specific intention of degrading her race and degrading her for who she is, whether that's who she is as a woman, as a black woman, whatever. Again, we're not talking about people who are like me that just said, you know what? Not my favorite performance. That's all. To have to wake up and to be bombarded with that, to say, because of who and what you are, we hate you. Because of who and what you are, we hate you. Listen, I'll never experience that in my lifetime. Not in my lifetime. I'll never experience that. And I can't even imagine or pretend to imagine what it must feel like to be an individual who you're just going out and trying to do your job. And guess what? When your job is in the movie business, some people will like the job you did, and some people won't like the job you did. Some people like the John Campea Show and they like what I do on it. Some people don't. But there ain't nobody that doesn't like my show because I'm Italian. There's nobody who doesn't like my show just because I have zero fashion sense. And I do have zero fashion sense. There's nobody who doesn't like my show because I'm white. There's nobody who doesn't like my show because I'm the height I am, that I move the way. No, there people don't like my show just because maybe they think I'm an idiot. There's something to be said about that. But I'll never have to wake up and just get bombarded with hate simply because of what I am. And the anonymity of the online world provides safe haven for the worst of us to do this type of cowardly, disgusting, awful things that only serves to dissuade other people from wanting to join our fandom. I'm not going to lie to you. One of the reasons that I kind of stopped doing, I used to do a show called Star Wars Talk Tuesdays. And one of the reasons, there were others, but one of the reasons was that there are too many people within the Star Wars fandom that just simply made it not a fun place to be anymore. Not a fun group of people to be associated with. There are going to be people today that are going to try to tell you and distract you from the real issue here by saying idiotic things like this. Disney is saying that if you don't like her performance, you're a racist. No. I didn't like her performance. They're not calling me a racist. They're calling you a racist because you're a racist. There are going to be people out there today who are going to try to distract you, try to change the topic, try to take the attention away from the problem, which is that we have a young woman like this who has to wake up with an avalanche of hatred on her because of what and who she is. And they're going to try to distract you from that. They're going to try to make it seem like they're going to try to change the course of the conversation and say, wow, this is about Disney trying to, no, it's not. This is about so-and-so saying, if you don't like this, no, it's not. There are lots of people like me that didn't happen to like her turn in this show. And I don't. I'm not going to lie and say that I did. I know she's capable of better because I've seen her do better in other projects. But they're not talking to me, and I know they're not talking about me. And everybody with 1 ounce of intelligence knows they're not talking about them. They're talking about you. And listen, if you don't like, and so Disney got criticized heavily when they didn't come out publicly to support John Boyega when he faced that stuff. They got criticized when they didn't come out publicly to defend Kelly Marie Tran when she was facing all that stuff. And it seems like now they've kind of learned their lesson. And they put together a statement, a very innocuous statement, by the way, that just said, hey, everybody, the Star Wars galaxy is huge and large and filled with billions of species. Don't choose to be racist. Is there anybody of us here who'd say we want to be racist? It's a completely innocent yet direct and clear message that they're sending. We're supporting our actress. Something they maybe should have done with Kelly Marie Tran and John Boyega too, but I'm glad they've learned their lesson at this point. They didn't say, any of you who don't like Obi-Wan, you are terrible people. That's not what they said. They said, hey guys, universe is big. Lots of species. Don't choose to be racist. And you can be like me and many of us here who, hey, maybe that's one aspect of Obi-Wan we didn't like and appreciate. You can do that. There's nothing wrong with that. And Disney isn't remotely implying that there is. But I am also okay with them deciding to say, you know what, we're going to at least let her know we support her. We're going to say, look, guys, don't do this. If you like Obi-Wan, if you don't like Obi-Wan, it's all fair. I mean, God, I hated The Rise of Skywalker, but whatever. Just don't be racist. That's all. Very simple. And now look, I know there's going to be some people who are hearing me say that, and that's going to turn you off. And I'm okay with that. I'll go one step further. I hope today I lose 1,000 subscribers. Because if you are pissed off simply at the statement, let's not choose to be racist, then frankly, I don't want you as one of my viewers. I mean, that's YouTube suicide to say, but whatever. I don't want you as a viewer. I would love it if you'd go away and not come back. I don't need you here. I would rather go back to doing shows out of my spare bedroom than have people like you here. And there's something that I want to really emphasize here as well. To people who think that the Star Wars fandom is a completely lost thing and all this kind of stuff, I really want to reemphasize that those lowlifes, basement-dwelling cousin humpers who would write into a young actress just trying to pursue her dream and try to attack her, belittle her, and just devastate and destroy her simply because of who and what she is. They represent a small percentage of those of us who consider ourselves Star Wars fans. They are a vocal group. Absolutely they are. Because they've got nothing but their voices to try to scream at people. But I want to emphasize they are a small percentage. The vast majority of the people who love Star Wars just love Star Wars. And there's loving Star Wars. Doesn't mean you have to love everything about Star Wars. I don't like the prequels. I hated the Rise of Skywalker. I'm not particularly a big fan of this or that. But whatever, that's all fine. That's the majority of people. That is even, I would go so far as to say, the majority of people who might give some constructive criticism to Moses Ingram's performance in Obi-Wan so far. It's probably just people who just like, hey, yeah, there are performances I like, don't like, didn't like this one. And that's okay. We are talking about a small percentage here. So yeah, I like that Disney just came out and said, hey, let's not be racist. Sometimes we'll do it right, sometimes we'll do it wrong, but let's at least not choose to try to be racist at any rate. That's what I had to say on this topic. And again, I know there's gonna be a lot of people who don't like what I just said, and I'm perfectly comfortable with that. Look at me not care. But yeah, I just wanted to throw that out there and address the situation. So we're gonna end the topic at that, leave it at that, and say, guys, what are your thoughts? As all things, we encourage your conversation. Keep your conversation civil. Jump down to the comment section below and leave your thoughts there.
Yeah, John,
Right.
you want to address the poll? Because it's still open.
Well,
Maybe
let's address the poll like when we're moved on.
And I got like 5 messages from multiple viewers.
See if we can read those off when we get into the live questions part of the thing.
Okay.
So, guys, with all that down, we are now going to move on and take your live comments and questions. We are opening up the super chats now. Again, guys, keep it civil. We're going to go in there and do that now. This is a dangerous day to do that, I just realized. But hey, try to keep it simple as much as you can. Anyway, guys, before we get to that, again, I want to thank one of the sponsors of today's episode. I love this service so much, the good folks at Masterclass. Guys, we want to take just a minute and thank the sponsor of this video, Masterclass. Masterclass is offering classes on a wide variety of topics, like all taught by world-class masters at the absolute tops of their field. Each class is broken down out into individual video lessons, usually like around 10 minutes or so long, and members can explore at their own pace. And each class is supported by downloadable materials, lessons, recipes, or more that you can all find at masterclass.com. For example, are you into streaming? Well, you can take the Building Your Streaming class taught by ninjas so you can sharpen up on your streaming skills. Or if you're interested in independent filmmaking, take independent filmmaking from Academy Award winner Spike Lee. You want to get classes on how to direct? How about from Ron Howard? The very first one I personally looked up and got into was Business Leadership by the great Big Papa Iger, Bob Iger himself. And I was absolutely enthralled with it. I love every single minute of this stuff. If any of those apply to you, you need to try Masterclass. So I highly recommend that you check it out. Get unlimited access to every Masterclass. And as a John Campea Show viewer, you get 15% off an annual membership. Go to masterclass.com/Campea. Once again, to get 15% off your annual membership, go to masterclass.com/Campea. And a big thank you to the folks at Masterclass, number one, for existing because I love this service, and also for sponsoring this episode of the John Campea Show. If you want to check out Masterclass, again, guys, look down the description of this video right near the top, and you're going to see links to all of our sponsors. And when you support our sponsors, you're, of course, supporting our show. All right, guys, we're now going to get into the live questions you guys sent in. But Ray, you got some of our members, channel members.
Yeah, we got a couple. I'm sorry if I missed any. Ishmael Montoya says it's game day, baby.
Oh, that's, like I keep forgetting because we just saw it a couple of days ago.
Yeah.
I know.
But Obi-Wan is back to its regular schedule now, and today is game day. Obi-Wan episode 3. Really curious to see where they're going to go with
When
it.
we hear from Ishmael, the only thing I think about is how I don't have any of his cookies.
You have the recipe, though.
The cookies are damn good.
I do have the recipe.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry, Ray, was there more?
Ian S says, I would love a District 10. I watch District 9 once a year. Definitely a top 10 for me. And then we got Dacky Woods saying, this year is the 80th and 40th anniversary of both the original and remake of Cat People. I would either remake or make a sequel of the remake.
That's not a bad idea.
Then
That
we
was
got,
this month. Cat People celebrate its anniversary this
crazy.
month.
What's cat people?
I am, oh my God, that sounds awful. It just sounds awful.
Why are you so disappointed in me?
We'll get that later, but we got more here.
Mike Comic Planet says, best of my holiday weekend for me, watching Top Gun in a packed theater was epic. Worst of the weekend for me, getting COVID after being in that same theater.
Oh,
Sucks, but I'm feeling better now already.
sorry to hear that, but man.
And we
Watching
got-
Top Gun is the place to see one of these things.
We
yeah.
got two more. It's Sante says, by far my favorite John rant. Thank you for speaking up about it. And Nathan Dean says, there are two things in the world I can't stand. People who are intolerant of other people's cultures and Gungans.
And somebody wrote in before the one of the live viewers wrote in just as the show was starting. Says there's only two people I can't stand: bigots and sand. I hate sand.
Oh,
Like,
and we got one more that just came in. J Master said, hey crew, Disney has officially announced this morning that Disney Plus Day is returning on September 8th, leading
yeah.
into D23 Expo, the ultimate Disney fan event on September 9th through 11th.
Yeah, and they're going to commemorate Disney Plus Day with that's when Pinocchio is going to come out.
Oh.
So that's interesting there. All right, let's now get on to your live questions. Chris, what do we got in there?
We are starting with a bunch of support. We got John Wicked. We got Aries Puric sending in a $50 super chat.
A
Thank you.
$50 tip just to be supportive.
That's so
Thank you,
nice.
man, so much for supporting our channel on that level, man. That's incredibly generous.
We got A-Chap sending in support, and then Chef Rigo.
Chef Rigo.
Went to Disneyland yesterday and bought my 4th Legacy lightsaber. It's time to spend my money on hot toys now.
Yeah.
I'll tell you what, Anne, like I don't go to Disneyland anymore, but Anne still goes with our friends, and she always wants to go make another lightsaber. And I gotta say, man, that lightsaber making thing, it's pretty fun. It's
Yeah.
pretty fun. All right, what's next?
They're nice.
From James Argenta, are you doing a pre-show for Kenobi?
No, although we might start doing that later, but we had a production meeting yesterday. Our production schedule is getting kind of full. So I don't know, but we'll see after this week. I want to get a sense of where the series is going. We'll see if we might do a pre-show for the final 3, but there won't be one today. All right, good question. What's next?
From from Elizabeth Hirado. John and Rob wanting to see Pinocchio. Me. Where are the damn donkeys? That's
Yeah,
right.
why are they not in there's a lot they did. Of course, we're going to get another trailer at some point
Yes.
because this thing is still a little ways off. But there's a lot. Like, for instance, where's Pinocchio? That's the one I'm asking. All right, what's next?
From Alex Mata, the only ET sequel I want is ET versus Batman. Yes.
Yeah, I've always said in the movie world, anything short of Jesus probably loses to Batman. Even Superman loses to Batman.
Did you finally watch Chip and Dale Rescue Rangers?
I did not. I had
It's
a
the bit
choice.
in it.
I had a choice yesterday to either start watching Stranger Things season 4 or watch Chippendales. And I decided I better start cracking into Stranger Things. I'm
That's
2
fair.
episodes in now. First of all, Disney Plus, take note about real length of episodes. Thank you, Stranger Things, for that. Each one was like over an hour and 10 minutes long. Really liking it so far. 2 episodes in. How many more do I have to go? How many episodes is
It's
this half?
7
Seven,
total?
yeah.
Yeah.
7 this half? Okay. Really like it.
It's great. But when you watch Chip and Dale Rescue Rangers, you will understand E.T. versus Batman.
All right, what's next?
Gregorio, going to see Jurassic World this Friday. Excited.
This Friday?
Probably
Probably another territory. Damn, I'm jealous because I cannot wait to see that. I am actually very, very excited to see it. All right, what's next?
From Isaac, as a Star Wars fan, this hurts so much. My best friend loves Star Wars as much as I do, and she had a boy recently. This news makes me scared to show him Star Wars at all.
I mean, listen, whether it's the country America, like, hey, there are mass murderers in America. That doesn't paint all Americans. There are certain toxic, basement-dwelling, cousin-humping losers who spout off the things that they spout. However, they represent, again, I want to make sure we understand this, they represent a clear minority of people who would call themselves Star Wars fans. They're even in the clear minority of the people who didn't just happen to like the performance that was given on its own merits. Like, they are the minority of that. So I want to say, while it's always disheartening as a Star Wars fan to see stuff like this, poke its head out of the stupid sand, never lose sight that the vast majority of Star Wars fans, the ones who like certain things and the ones who dislike certain things, do so on a pure level and not that kind of nonsense. So just keep that in mind. All right, what's next?
From a Marcellus, I've no doubt Moses Ingram is a good actress, but she wasn't directed well. My problem is from a story standpoint. I don't want her story to be ripped off Trilia the Inquisitor from Jedi Fallen Order.
Well, I mean, but now we're just saying we're getting worried about things that haven't happened yet.
Yeah.
Right? There's no point in being worried about something that hasn't happened. And then, even if it did happen, why be worried about it when you don't see how it's going to happen? Listen, I'm with you. I'm not big on this character right now. I'm not. I'm going to wait and see if the show can get me there. And it's always a combination of things. It's the performance matched with the writing of it, matched with the direction given to the performer to do it. And for whatever reason, just the certain creative decisions they've made with this character so far haven't really clicked with me. We'll see if that changes. All right, what's next?
From My Comic Planet, John, which chase scene was worse? 1, the bike chase scene in Boba Fett, or 2, the chase scene with Leia and Obi-Wan?
Oh, the bike chase thing. You know what remind me? Somebody sent me a meme when that bike chase scene happened in Boba Fett. They sent me the meme from Seinfeld of Costanza on the little the walker scooter running from a bunch, like going like 2 miles an hour, running from a bunch of senior citizens also on their little scooters. It's like, yeah, that was that. Listen, again, I forgive that chase scene in Obi-Wan. Number 1, because she didn't get away. They got her. And number 2, because I just accept that she knows the terrain way better than they did. So that might get her a step ahead for a moment. If it had ended with her getting away and saying, bye, suckers, then I would have gone, but
that would have been pure Carrie Fisher energy,
it
though.
would have been pure Carrie Fisher. Absolutely.
She just gives him a bird and chugs a martini. That's what I want for baby Leia.
All right, what's next?
Empire Fan 1980. Did you know that the girl who gave Obi-Wan the spice was Ewan McGregor's oldest daughter?
I did not know that until we were doing our open spoiler discussion and somebody wrote that in. Good for them. You know what? Before I think, oh, that's not... Listen, Star Wars have been doing that for a long time. In The Last Jedi, Mark Hamill's kids are all in one scene. As Hamill is walking, as Luke is walking out to face the walkers, and you see 3 rebels just kind of stand up from behind crates. Those are all Mark Hamill's kids. Those are his 3 kids. We've had George Lucas put his own daughter in one of the prequels as a purple Twi'lek in a bar seat talking to Ahmed Best out of the Jar Jar Binks thing. I mean, so putting the kids of people in the Star Wars family in there is nothing new. I think it's really special that they did that. All right, what's next?
From Zach Marcello, 80s reboot ideas. Back to the Future, Thundercats, and my personal fave, Dead Poets Society with Ethan Hawke coming back to pass on the wisdom to a new generation.
Oh, I like that one.
I like that idea.
That one's pretty good.
It's pretty good.
Now, for obvious reasons, you can't do Back to the Future. Right. I don't think that Michael J. Fox at this point can do that sort of this thing. Although I have really loved watching Michael J. Fox continue to work as his condition has progressed. Like, what was it? It wasn't, it was Designated Survivor, right? Didn't he play like the White House guy, like the internal investigator where he's like working with the president, stuff like that? I love seeing him in that with the condition, and they don't try to hide it, whatever, but I think his condition's gotten to a point now that having him like lead a movie, and I don't think anybody wants to see it if it's not Michael J. Fox.
Yeah.
So I'd say that, but I love the idea of Dead Poet Society.
I want Thundercats.
But that's not a movie, right? That's just a TV.
Yeah.
Let's get around to, 80s movie icons. But yes, people have been trying to get Thundercats made for a long time. All right, what's next?
From Nash Preds 99, finished volume 1 of Stranger Things. I was so happy with the long episodes. I saw that volume 2 is only going to be 2 episodes, but episode 1 will be an hour and 30 minutes, and the finale will be 2 hours and 30 minutes.
Oh, there's only 9 episodes total?
Yeah.
Oh.
And we don't get those till next month.
So the second release is 2 episodes?
Apparently.
I mean, listen, you're making them long.
Yeah.
So 9, this is probably going to end up being a 12-hour season.
Yeah, I mean, it's going to be the finals 4 hours, so that's like 4-hour long episodes.
That's like 4 episodes of a Disney Plus show.
A lot of work.
So, yeah, all right. That's interesting to know. All right, what's next?
From Pop Luzaniga. Hey, John, based on the new behind-the-scenes pics, I've been seeing new cameras around the studio. Do you have any new gear?
Yeah, we do. So obviously we brought all the gear from the old studio over here, but since we have a little bit more space and we have a Studio B and things like that, I bought some new cameras. And I have been using the Sony A6400s for years now. I love these cameras. And these are the cameras. I'm on a Sony A6400 right now with a 50 mil.
I think so.
Yeah, 50 millimeter Sigma prime lens. We've got a lot of these in here. But when I needed new cameras, I thought, you know what, I'm going to switch it up a bit. And I bought some Canons. And I bought some Canons. They're very, very inexpensive, actually, for what they are. I bought some Canon M50 Mark IIs. And we use those in the secondary studio, and we use them in my office. So when I do mailbags and stuff like that from my office in John Campea After Dark, that's a Canon M50 Mark II with a 15 millimeter Sigma prime lens on it. So yeah, we've had to expand our gear. We got some new lights and stuff like that. It's kind of fun having more space to play with some gear a little bit, because I like playing with gear. All right, what's next?
From Late Night Alone.
That didn't sound right. I love playing with gear. Then all I hear is Rob.
It's just
All right.
no one
what's
wants to
next?
kink shame you, John. It's fine. Late Night Alum, a sequel to an 80s film? No doubt The Last Starfighter
Yes.
is on the top of many lists. How about Little Monsters and The Goonies, led by, I always say his name wrong, Ke Kwan? Bring on the Filthy.
Goonies is one they've tried to do for a long time. I'd love to see Josh Brolin come back into play. It's Brolin now.
The Goonies
It's our
today.
time. It's
The
our
Goonies,
time
and
down
listen,
here.
you just had the kid and everything everywhere all at once. I mean, seriously, some of your mind, one of the most magical lines I've heard in a movie in a long, long time. And I'm paraphrasing, so I can't remember word for word, but basically, Short Round, and I'm forgetting the actor's name, who plays Michelle Yeoh's husband.
Ke Kwan.
Yeah, that's it. So he's standing in the street with her. This is in the reality where they're both kind of rich. And he says something along the lines of, in another reality, I would have loved to have done laundry and taxes with you. I'm sorry. There's good writing, and then there's that kind of writing.
Yeah, it was really good.
Like that. Like I just read that line. I'm like, oh, this is so beautiful. Anyway, yeah.
How can two rocks get you so emotional? How
I
can you
know,
get so
right?
invested in a raccoon? That movie's perfect. Ryan Miller sends in support. Thank you, Ryan. Luis Enrique de la Peña. We just did that one, I think. Oh no, this is another 80s one. 80s movies that could have a sequel. Back to the Future. They announced the new DeLorean. Breakfast Club, 16 Candles, Rain Man, RoboCop, and Best of the Best with Eric Roberts as the team's trainer.
Well, I mean, Best of the Best, they did do 2 more of those movies, and they like completely flopped. And it's not a movie that would work today, unfortunately.
and they
It
made
doesn't
2
have the love.
RoboCops and a remake.
Yeah, and which, by the way, I didn't hate the remake, the one with Michael Keaton in it. I didn't hate the remake. It clearly wasn't as good as the original one, but I actually didn't think it was all that bad. All right, what's next?
From Mickey. Is there any truth to the rumors about Zaslav being upset with Bad Robot having no DC films produced yet?
That's the word coming from the major trades, is that it's like, hey, this $20 million deal got signed and we haven't seen anything. So what's going on? And from what I hear, by the way, I can't confirm that this is true, so don't repeat this. I'm just saying, I've heard some people saying that Zaslav actually has his legal department looking at ways to just get out of the deal. I mean, because nothing's been produced
$500
yet.
million. That's a lot of money.
A lot of cheddar. All right,
That's all the hot toys.
That's all the hot toys.
what's next?
From Jeremy144713. I read in the news they're redoing the Infinity Gauntlet comic run, and instead of Thanos courting death, he is courting the axe of Zaslav.
I guess the axe of Zaslav means death. You see that coming down the hallways of Warner Brothers? Your job is probably not long for this world at this point. All right, what's next?
From Jay, we rocking with John because John's rocking with us.
Oh, well, thank you for that. I think, as long as
Yeah.
rocking isn't some kind of bad
No,
metaphor.
that's great. We got a real sweet comment in the chat too that said you gave a master class on having class.
Oh, well, thank you. I have my moments.
He is a master debater.
Got him.
And if he's rocking,
knew
do
that
we
was-
not come a knocking?
What is it? What was it you said going into
All
the
right,
break
while you
again?
guys ponder
What?
that,
Protect
Protect
your
the
wood.
wood, yeah.
Protect your wood.
Phil, who's been a member for 3 months, says torn between a reboot or continuation of Short Circuit, but definitely want some more Johnny Five.
I
It
love
was-
Short Circuit.
You know, if you'd asked me 10 years ago, I would have said a continuation. It has to reboot today.
Yeah.
And
it
also
was-
one more, Tara Jefferson writes, as a geek of color, I appreciate your clear and concise censure of this racist nonsense. You are more eloquent than I because my opinion consists of F-bombs and sending these people to hell. Thank you, John.
Fuck yeah. Yeah. Hear that, Mom? I'm eloquent.
Was that you burping on cue?
Yes, it was.
Aw.
What's next?
From Jay Bling. Sorry, Rob, but I'm going to skip Crimes of the Future.
What?
I've read it contains some sexual masochism, even more extreme than Cronenberg's Crash, and that movie caused my organ to retract up into my body. Like a puppy.
I can't argue with that, Jay.
Crash is a weird movie, man, but I don't know why. I am when it's on, I just there's something about the construction of it, the performances of it. Like, even though it is this weird, let's get into car crashes so I can get a hard on. I mean, it's the weirdest thing in the world, but it's a really compelling movie.
Would you like
James
to know
Spader,
how
by
many
the way.
copies I own on 4K and Blu-ray?
At
Four,
least-
John.
Four.
For every
Four.
room.
I have 4 copies of
Four copies, of
Crash.
course you do.
Elizabeth gives me more shit about that than anything I own.
All right, what's next?
From A. Marcellus. I don't have 80 sequels ideas, but I do have 90s ideas. The Mask and Speed. And no, those awful 2000 sequels don't count.
I was gonna say, dude, they did both, and they did not work out so well.
Son of Mask was his masterpiece.
I just, man, you know what's really too bad? I love Cummings.
I bet.
Alan, I think he's a fun performer. He also played Nightcrawler.
Yeah.
In X2. I really like, and then he was in Schmigadoon. What's the name of the
Schmigadoon.
Schmigadoon. He was in
He's great in
Schmigadoon.
Schmigadoon.
So I really like him, but oh
He-
my God, that's Son of the
If
Mask
you
movie.
haven't seen it, Reefer Madness with him in it is
I've not.
so great.
He's in Reefer Madness?
He's in Reefer Madness. Yeah, he's wonderful. It's him. It's Kristen Bell. It's great.
All right, I'll keep that in mind. All right,
My
what's
weekends,
next?
Reaper Madness.
From Zach Taylor. It was in 1990, but I want Days of Thunder too, ever since Top Gun 2 trailers were coming out.
Yeah, but good luck getting Nicole Kidman and Tom Cruise in the same room together to do. Nicole Kidman was in Days of Thunder too, right? It wasn't
Yeah.
just the Irish or the. What was the
You're
name of the
a
Irish one?
Parker Shannon in Far and Away.
Far and Away, and then of course they also did Eyes Wide Shut together.
Yep.
There's one they should remake.
No, Kubrick's dead.
Oh, that's
Don't
right.
touch his movie.
Yeah, don't touch it. All right, what's next?
From Jerome, everybody should watch Giancarlo's panel at Star Wars.
I missed it. I
didn't stream
I
that
had
one.
a chance to meet Giancarlo Esposito at LA Comic-Con, and we got some pictures with him. Dude, super great, but I did miss his panel. Yeah.
He did an interview. I was talking about it yesterday. He did an interview that I think everybody should watch, where he talks about playing Moff Gideon, and how working his cape and how it made him feel like a kid again.
That's right. I had somebody, I forgot to mention this to you. Somebody had clipped out of the show yesterday you doing this.
Oh no!
And just clipped it out and made it a clip and sent it to me. I got to share that with you.
Great.
I gotta watch that. Looks like he's dancing or what?
Yeah, he did this thing yesterday, and somebody just sent me this random clip of it. It's
Oh
great.
boy.
All right, what's next?
From My Comic Planet. This has been a great year for Miles Teller.
Yep.
Between Top Gun and The Offer, he's been killing it. John, does Teller have what it takes to be a big leading man in Hollywood?
Yes. Listen, I've been saying that for a decade. This dude, you may not like all the choices he makes about as to which movies he appears in and whatnot. This dude can act. One of the best things I finally ever heard was like, finally, thank you. So after J.K. Simmons won his Academy Award, he was doing an interview afterwards. They're like, listen, I half owe this to Miles Teller. Like, he helped me elevate my performance. Like, he is so good in this movie, and he is. Yeah, he hasn't always made the best movies. Miles Teller is a terrific performer, and so watching him in The Offer, is
He's
just killing
really
me.
charismatic in The Offer.
Yeah.
And it's funny. I saw an interview with him talking about how he never thought he looked like Anthony Edwards or Meg Ryan, and that when he walked out in costume and makeup with his mustache,
He totally
Tom
did.
Cruise was like, "You look exactly like
Anthony
the child
Edwards,
of Meg
yeah.
Ryan," and he was great. But he's great in The Offer as Al Ruddy.
Yeah, he is. All right, what's
but
next?
Whiplash, dude, what a great movie! That
Yeah, so good
is.
in that.
So good.
Mr. Holbrook. 80s movies that deserve a sequel are Enemy, Mine, and Weird Science.
Cue the music.
Weird Science is one that could oddly be very appropriate for today. Actually, now that I think, I was initially going to kind of recoil on that one, but it's like, no, that one, and Enemy Mine, absolutely. I mean, especially in today's political environment, that is something that.
And you could bring back Dennis Quaid and Louis Gossett Jr. to
You
play
could totally use
those
both
roles
of them.
again. Like, where is that conflict now?
Why have I not seen Louis Gossett Jr. again since Watchmen? And why did it take so long to see him again?
I don't know.
Until
He's
Watchmen. The dude's amazing. Academy Award winner. Love that dude. All
And
right.
same with Weirder Science. Bring back Anthony Michael Hall and the other dude.
Anthony Michael Hall continues to work, man. He was
Yeah.
in Yellowstone.
Right.
great.
He's
he
great.
was so good.
I mean,
in
you can even
Yellowstone.
bring back Kelly LeBrock.
Why not? All right, what's
She's
next?
great. What do you little maniacs want to do first? Lucky BX. Reva may know Anakin is Vader because she was at the temple during Order 66 and saw him and heard a trooper refer to him as Lord Vader.
You know what? That's not bad, except would the troopers know his name is now Lord Vader? And if they were just telling troopers, why is it a secret suddenly later on? But again, that's not a bad theory. We'll see how they because to me, that is a logic problem because ain't nobody is supposed to know that Anakin Skywalker is Darth Vader. Nobody's supposed to know that. And the fact that some random inquisitor, some low-ranking inquisitor happens to know it, that's problematic, but let's see how they explain it because that's not a bad theory.
She's working for him.
She might be working
She's
for
working
him.
for the
She's
man.
Star Killer. She might be Star Killer, in this scenario. So we'll see. I'll ask Sam Witwer about that. All right, what's next?
From Lucky BX. Oh, no. XG. There we go. Over under 10%, Tim Blake Nelson makes a cameo in She-Hulk.
I'll go over 10. I wouldn't go over 30, but I'll go over 10.
Yeah, I would too.
Yeah, why not? All right, what's next?
From Raymond. 80s film which can have a sequel today. Firefox, Clint Eastwood, maybe Scott can star in it. Cocoon, and Dead Poet Society.
You must think in Russian. I loved Firefox when I was a kid because I was young when Firefox came. For those of you who don't know, so the Russians developed this new fighter plane, right? And the U.S. sends in Clint Eastwood to sneak in and steal the plane. And the thing is, it's a plane that's designed that the helmet can read the thoughts of the pilot. So pilots will have way faster reaction times than any American pilot, right? And I still remember he goes, remember, you must think in Russian. I just remember, I really, really like that movie.
I like it. And that's, again, another movie that's 40 years old this year.
Okay, now, do you own it?
I do not.
Wow.
I do not own
Yeah.
Firefox. I
Woo.
do not own
Do
Firefox.
not come across one that you don't have.
I
very
used to
often.
have a model of the plane, though.
The plane was pretty
The
badass.
plane is pretty badass. You know what? Now I have to go get Firefox.
All right, what's
Good
next?
one.
From Devin. Stranger Things VFX are top notch and they still have 9 episodes over an hour each. What is Disney Plus doing with their shows? Okay, I will say there are some moments as you get into the other episodes where you go, oh, there's where the budget cuts went. We're like, that's a green screen. No worries, guys. We couldn't get on a lake.
I would say this. I would not say that I'm loving Stranger Things season 4 so far. I'm 2 episodes in. I'm loving it so far. I would not say their visual effects are top notch. They do some very standard, decent, practical costume effect. Some of the visual effects are very simple. Like there's nothing too terribly complex about the effects that they're trying to do. Unlike, say, something like a Moon Knight or something like an Obi-Wan or something like that. But it's totally working within the context of the show. It absolutely is. I wouldn't necessarily say their effects have been spectacular.
I would give it up for their kills, though.
The kills look, oh my God, they're so. We won't give any detail.
I'm
but
just saying,
Woo!
those are some kills where I'm like, all right.
I will think back to the first one for a very, very long time.
Yep.
Yep.
All right.
My dreams.
Wait, I got a message from another member, Cole Reed. He says, Rob, if John is Kirk and you are Spock, who is the rest of the crew? Chris might be the communication officer because she is a voice actor. I haven't seen much Star Trek.
No, I would say Chris is Chekhov. Actually,
I love that for me.
I would
I
say
mean,
Chris
clearly I'm Scotty. I'm running.
Yeah, I was going to say, yeah. Producer
me,
Jonathan is Scotty.
And me,
Yeah.
I'm Trade Federation, obviously.
You know, it works.
I was going to say you're red shirt guy, but sure, Trade Federation.
Yeah, I mean, you said it, buddy. You know what? And why not? I think the Trade Federation would have joined the Federation by that time.
All right, what's next?
From Sol Carlos, is it true The Rock is replacing Will Smith on the Aladdin sequel? Thoughts?
I don't buy that for a second.
Yeah, I don't
We
either.
talked about that a couple weeks ago.
Yeah, no, I don't believe that for. Listen, if for whatever reason they felt they had to replace Will Smith, which listen, what Will Smith did was stupid as hell. Should there be some consequences for what he did? Yes, there should be some consequences. But not every dumb thing that somebody does should equal a death sentence, right? Look, I am as against what Will Smith did, and I called it the night it happened. I was like, I'm super disappointed in Will Smith. That is unacceptable, blah, blah, blah. But punishment fit the crime. Should his career be ended over this? I don't think so. But listen, I get it. Disney may not want to make another family romp with the guy who walked on stage and assaulted another comedian. Okay, maybe they don't want to do that. Maybe they don't think that's good for them and their brand. Fair enough. You can't replace him. And you certainly can't replace him with Dwayne The Rock Johnson. Dwayne The Rock Johnson can do a lot. He cannot do what Will Smith does. So I would say no. I don't
He
believe that.
snapped. He did something bad. You know what? I love Will Smith as a performer, and I would hate to live in a world where we don't see Will Smith performances anymore. I mean, I love Will Smith. I mean, I go back and there's so many I love Enemy of the State. I own Enemy of the State. I'm not giving up my Enemy of the State physical media anytime soon. And I unapologetically will say that.
All right, what's next?
Kick the tires and light the fires.
From Sam Fisher, the dealer in episode 2 that tells Kenobi the spice will make him forget his daughter is Ewan McGregor's actual daughter.
Yeah, we were just talking about that. Somebody brought that up, thankfully, in our Obi-Wan open spoiler discussion. Again, don't forget to join us for our Obi-Wan open spoiler discussion tomorrow as we cover episode 3. By the way, James Fuller just became a director-level member on our channel.
Yay.
Thank you, James, so
And
much for that,
someone
man.
else did too. Mark Queen McDonald.
Nice to have you guys
Martin
here.
Yeah.
All right, what's next?
From Santiago, what are the 3 to 5 shows everyone must see in their life?
That's too big of a topic to sit here and do, and I generally don't do lists off those things. All right, what's next?
From 1-6 Shooter, what's happening with Furiosa?
Hey, apparently still plowing
Yeah,
ahead.
moving forward.
Yeah.
Anya Taylor-Joy playing young Furiosa. I can't wait.
Yeah, I mean, listen, we are living it like Anya Taylor-Joy and Florence Pugh. Like, the world is just theirs right now. Like, they are the names right now.
By the way, shout out, there's a book that came out about the making of Fury Road. Obviously George Miller's Fury Road. If you're interested in how films, that took 20 years to get made. It's one of the most fascinating making of books you can read. I highly recommend it.
Speaking of George Miller, he's got that new movie coming out called 3,000 Years of Longing. Is that what it's called?
Yes.
Dude, come on.
Apparently did not get received well at Cannes.
Looks so
Oh.
good.
But the trailer looks great.
so fun.
But yeah, I'm hearing disappointing things about it. But I thought the trailer was wonderful. Anyway,
did too.
What's next?
From Ulatan, hi gang. For an 80s franchise, I'd love to see a revival of The Neverending Story. Turn around,
Wait a minute.
look at what you see.
How do you revive something that's never ending?
That's right.
Conundrum.
The Nothing.
Falcor the Luck Dragon.
Yeah, you know, a girl who used to be my assistant, then became one of our production managers over at Complex and Collider. Her name's Wendy Lee Zena. By the way, Wendy Lee and her husband have a great channel of their own called the Movie Couple. Movie Couple. It's really good. You should check it out. But they had a little white fluffy dog that they named Falcor.
Aw.
Yeah, she used to bring Falcor. I used to love Falcor, that little dog.
I have a question. This is probably my top favorite 80s movie was Pump Up the Volume.
Dance.
Do you
Dance.
think they
I
can
remember
redo
that.
that one with today's
No, I don't think
issues today? No?
It doesn't carry the same nostalgia,
No.
I think, for a lot of people.
It's a
unfortunately.
great movie, though.
Yeah.
Samantha Mathis and Christian Slater.
Yep.
I have
All
that
right.
on physical media.
What's next?
From Cincinnati's 5-star barber.
Yeah, 5-star.
Hey, John, can you ask the hood people at MeUndies if their product does a great job protecting the glorious pink sack?
I still like to protect the wood. I mean, that was still.
I'll make that phone call. Hi there. This is Chris with John Campea. How you doing?
We have a
I've
question.
got some questions about pink sacks.
Glorious.
Yeah?
By the way,
Glorious pink sack?
I do want to say this regarding our sponsors. You would be surprised. Like Jonathan kind of manages a lot of stuff for us here. And so Jonathan will come to me when there's a new sponsor that's interested in signing up. Jonathan will tell you there have been a lot of times when Jonathan's come in and said, hey, so-and-so is inquiring about sponsorship. And we just go, no. We've said no a lot of times. And I'm not kidding you. They're not even paying for this right now. I straight up legit love MeUndies. I really do. I've always been the guy.
Manscaped.
And I love Manscaped and all, but I've always been that guy that when I need underwear once every 4 or 5 years, I go to, underwear is still viable as long as the band is there and there's a few threads left. It's still viable underwear.
John.
Wow.
So I would go,
Wow.
I'm one of these guys who every couple of years, I go to Target or Kmart or Walmart and buy like a plastic bag of like 50 pairs of low budget underwear. But now that I'm actually wearing some pretty decent underwear, I never want to go back. Yeah, Ray.
I want to give a shout out to 5-star Cincinnati 5-star barber. You know, with the next season coming up of the NFL, right? I'm trying to get all the jerseys. I have the orange one, the black one, the white one I can't find. So he went down to the stadium shop and actually got me one.
Aww.
I'm paying for it, but he finally found it for me. I lost like 2 bids on eBay, like 2 things. So thank you, Cincinnati 5-star, for being a homie. I'm gonna have all 3 colors this season. Hopefully we don't stink it up.
And using my terminology again, I want to thank him for that.
Listen, I'm telling you right now, the Bengals, I'm not saying they're going to win the Super Bowl this year. Don't get me wrong. They're going to be a team to watch this year. They're going to be a fun, entertaining.
They're saying the Browns are the top contenders for the AFC North. I was shocked when SportsCenter said that.
Yeah, I don't know that I believe that.
Deshaun Watson, I think, as their quarterback.
Yeah, he might not even be able to play this year, though.
Yeah.
Anyways,
All right.
we got to keep going. Let's
5-star.
move on.
Thank you,
Something
brother.
about colors
What's
and shirts. From Nick's Book Club. Hey, gang, saw Watcher at Sundance. Kind of mids.
Again, I have not seen. I just thought the trailer was really good. I know it's getting strong reviews, but thank you for giving us your input on that, man. I appreciate that. All right, what's next?
From Film Code Podcast, Big Trouble in Little China with Dwayne Johnson.
That was actually a real thing.
That was a real thing for a long time, for years. They tried to get that done. It was on the books. They were going to do it and just never happened, unfortunately. And now The Rock's dance card is just packed.
Yeah.
So I don't think it's ever going to happen now, but that was on the books. All right, what's next?
From Parker, only regarding Gore's look, wouldn't it be even better if he looked like an alien species instead of an emo pale bale? Missed potential to push the design VFX since Thanos.
I disagree. I think he looks great. I think he looks menacing. And more importantly, I think the design they decided on him allows him to fully give a full physical performance.
Yep.
You know, listen, of course, you guys know I love the Thanos character. One of the best things, other than maybe Caesar, I think one of the best CGI characters ever done. But as good as it was, there were limitations on the performance that Josh Brolin could give. You got an Academy Award winner like Christian Bale in there. You want him to be able to give a full physical performance. And I think not only does this look pretty good, I think it's an outfit that's going to allow him to do that. I don't know. What do you think?
No, I agree. I mean, and let's wait and see the performance.
Yeah.
You know, it's like when people first saw Heath Ledger and they were iffy on it. Let's see what he brings to the role, because I think Christian Bale is going to dive into it.
By the way, I just want to mention here that earlier today I put up a poll asking, hey, which of the movies of June are you guys most excited for? And we've had almost 5,000 votes. And the winner is Jurassic World.
Wow.
With 42% of the vote. Coming up just behind it is Lightyear with 35% of the vote. And then Elvis and the Black Phone both tied at 12%. But I'm telling you guys, do not sleep on the Black Phone. All right, what's next?
From Mark, 80s movie resurgences, Beetlejuice 2, Another Dead Couple Story, Gremlins 3, Gizmo Visits Tokyo, The Neverending Story Ends, The Princess Bride's Granddaughter, The Outsiders Wanting Back In.
I'll tell you what. Well, there's a couple of those movies that are actually being made. Gremlins 3, don't laugh. It's still in the development.
Yep.
They are still trying to get that green light, and they are still been working on it for years and years and years and years. Obviously, there's been a lot of stop and goes for Beetlejuice 2. We'll see whatever actually ends up happening with that. So some of those things are actual realities. All right, what's next?
From Adrian Bonds, 80s movie Commando.
Listen, remember I said I'd kill you last? I lied. Sully.
That movie's dope.
That movie is great. By the way, a young I really shouldn't be Alyssa Milano. I was gonna say, I really shouldn't be freezing on this name. Alyssa Milano, a young Melissa Milano playing his daughter in that movie. Yes.
They made a hot toy of John Matrix.
Did they?
They did.
By the way, the Aussie guy with the short black hair,
Vernon Wells, who played Wes from Road Warrior.
I was gonna say one of my favorite Schwarzenegger movie villains.
Oh, he's so good.
With the knife and everything. Oh, all right. What's next?
From Andy, 1 of 2. John, you're right. You're right yesterday. If you have a great experience at a strip club or a movie theater, you're likely to go back. I went last weekend and...
That's all we got. He didn't make it through.
Oh!
Man.
That's part two.
What happened?
You got to move quick on these super chats. The windows are very, very small. It's like, I need
Guys,
to know where
Andy
that was
didn't
going.
make it.
All right. What's next?
From Sam Fisher, you've been reading the current Darth Vader comic by Greg Park? It's really good. It's set after ESB,
Empire Strikes Back.
Empire Strikes Back, and sees Vader basically reliving his past with Padme.
No, I did not know there was another one. I
didn't
mean,
either.
I've got several of the big Vader stories like in their collectibles, but I've not read the new one. Listen, I'll be really honest with you. Shortly after Disney took over Star Wars, and then they started putting out the new Star Wars comics, because remember, they said everything's canon now.
Right.
I remember picking one up, and I think it cost me like $6. And I literally read it in about 6 minutes. And I'm like, no, I'm not going to do this anymore.
Yeah.
And
Wait till the omnibus or the
yeah, or just not. And I just haven't gotten back on the Star Wars comics since. I just haven't. All right, what's next?
From Dan Ho, best scene from Top Gun Maverick without spoiling. Insert Thanos. I'll do it myself meme.
That scene was amazing. Pretty unrealistic, but amazing. How is it? How did Maverick do that? That wouldn't even be possible. That what Maverick did here would have taken an entire movie of a heist film just for him to do what he did. Again, we're not going to give away any details, but completely unrealistic, but you just go, whatever, it's Top Gun. And then you just enjoy it because it was pretty awesome. All right, what's next?
From Mikey, remember when the marketing for the 90s Godzilla movie never showed Godzilla? Good times.
Oh, I forgot about that. That was the one. That was the one with Hank Azaria in it, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
Matthew Broderick.
Yeah. All you saw was like a foot and stuff like that.
Yeah, but it was pretty cool. Like in the water and stuff. Although I wish the movie
That soundtrack was okay
cool
too.
I feel like
don't remember the
Godzilla's a very
soundtrack.
different reveal than Pinocchio, too.
Yeah. Yes.
Well,
Like-
yes.
Sean Combs produced a lot of that.
Yeah,
didn't
yeah. It was Rage Against the Machine.
Yeah, Rage
Yeah,
Against the
yeah.
Machine did the theme song.
But hey, Cloverfield never showed the monster
Yeah.
in their stuff.
A little bit, yeah. You're right.
Before we move on, Drew Tosh says, "Hey John and crew, love y'all. Been on a Cronenberg binge lately and rewatched The Fly. Dear God, the 80s were something else. Do you have a favorite Cronenberg film?"
he?
I actually just listed it's The Fly. I love that movie.
I mean, I think my favorite Cronenberg movie is Dead Ringers, but I have to say, Videodrome is still right up at the top.
all right, what's next?
From Casey by Day, Alexa, play Never Gonna Give You Up.
Yeah, we don't have an Alexa in here, so good try, but yeah, we don't have one here. All right, what's next? I do have one at home though. All right, what's next?
Stubble McShave, adaptations of Douglas Adams and Pratchett's work are pretty bad. Does it take absurdist creators similar to the Pythons to do absurdism justice on screen?
Look, this is a general issue, okay? Adaptations are difficult. They're very difficult. And especially when you're trying to adapt fantasy or sci-fi for television, because quite often you don't have the budgets and the time and the resources to try to flesh them out the way they're done. Plus, here's the real difficult thing, particularly with sci-fi and fantasy when they come out in books first. It looks different in everybody's heads. When you read of a scene or whatever of a character, it's a certain way in your head, but it's going to look differently in another person's head. So again, it's more of a general thing. It's a very difficult thing to do. I don't know, Rob, what would you say to that?
Well, yeah, I mean, look, I love the Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy radio show. That was the first thing. And there's all these concepts that they're throwing at you that from an intellectual standpoint are very funny. But when you suddenly visualize them in real life and try and put them in it can either be funny or it can fall really flat. It's a really difficult thing to do, to walk that tightrope of tone.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
Hard.
What's next?
From Josh Becker. Have you ever heard of Cha Cha Real Smooth? Looks great.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. We watched that trailer.
Yeah.
I'm not familiar with it. What is it?
It was the guy who directed it, made a big splash with this movie at Sundance. He stars in it. He wrote and directed it. And it's sort of a coming of age story about how he falls in love with an older woman who has children, and he's helping the kid out. But it looks like a beautiful coming of age story, and he's getting all kinds of crazy.
He's a party starter at bar mitzvahs.
Yeah.
I have seen the trailer for that. Yes.
It looks real
It looks really good. It looks
That's
really
right.
charming.
It does look interesting. By the way, I forgot to mention that there's another movie that's getting a wider release starting tomorrow that a lot of people have been asking me about, and I just never got around to seeing it. It's called Triple R, or RRR.
Oh, dude.
The Indian film.
Oh.
So you know what? I'm going to watch it this week. And I will do a review of it. Because a lot of people have been asking me to do that. Have you seen it?
You are not prepared.
So you did see it?
Oh, yes. It's also on Netflix now.
Oh, is it?
But I think in the theater, the big controversy is the original language that it was. I made the mistake of calling it a Bollywood movie, but it's not. It's a Tollywood movie. It's I'm sorry, I'm not up on the different languages in India, but dude, this movie, I have to say, when you see it, I bet you're going to say it rivals Everything Everywhere All at Once as your favorite movie of the year.
That really?
Yeah.
Okay.
Now, but here's the thing: the sensibility, you've got to. It's insane. It's insanely good.
All right. I've had a lot of people telling me that they really wanted me to see it. So
Is that opening in the theater tomorrow again? Or
yeah, I think it's getting released in a little bit of wider
because
scope of
people
theaters.
told me about it. I was pissed that I really want to see it in a theater.
Yep. That's where I'm going to go see it. I'm going to go check it out in the theater. All right. What's next?
From Alex Mata. Took my dad to see Top Gun. He cried the whole way and called it The Notebook for Boys.
The Notebook for Boys. I mean, personally, I'd call Best of the Best that, but I love that. The Notebook for Boys. I'm going to remember that one. All right, what's next?
From Devin, would be great to meet you guys at Star Wars Celebration in London next year.
Listen, I will consider it. Like, listen, for all we know, I am going to be back in my spare bedroom doing this solo by this time next year. I mean, who knows what the future holds? But yeah, listen, I think we are definitely going to consider if I find out there's actually going to be some, movie news at Star Wars Celebration next year, which there was none at this year. I actually think we're going to consider going next year. But, we'll have to wait and see. By the way, I forgot to announce this earlier, but next Tuesday, not today, but next Tuesday, you could put a pin in it. It's ready to go. Movie Club returns next Tuesday as we finish off our Lord of the Rings series, as we do our movie club on Return of the King, the most wins at the Academy Award of any film in history. No film has ever won more Academy Awards than Return of the King. So we are going to be covering that on Movie Club next Tuesday. So there. Now you guys know, be ready for it. Okay, let's finish off here because we're already over time. What's next?
The Man with the Master Plan. Well said, John. Reva's not the best written character yet. I sense the Vegeta vibe, though. Maybe that's how Obi-Wan rediscovered himself.
Maybe. Listen, the one thing, somebody brought this up a little bit earlier. In my head, I am not wanting to see her become a good guy. I'm not wanting to see it. They've done that too many times. But if they do, fine. If they find a really good way to do that. I just hope, I want to see something more than the one note we've had in the character so far.
Agreed.
I mean, that's just what I'm wanting to see. And if that plays a crux in bringing Obi-Wan back to himself, all the better for it. Let's see what they do. And we're going to see a little taste of it again tonight.
Yeah.
Rob, you pointed out to me yesterday, after tonight, after 5 days, we're going to be halfway through Obi-Wan.
Halfway.
Unless there is episode 8.
7, 8, 9, and 10. Yeah.
By the way, how cool would that be?
Listen, I'll
I don't think it's going to happen.
No way. They never would have let him.
But how cool would it be?
He never would. They never would have let him do it. Never would have let him do it. But it would be pretty damn cool. All right, what's next?
From El Maverick, I don't think it's an understatement to say the first 2 episodes of Stranger Things 4 were better than the first 2 of Obi-Wan Kenobi.
I don't know. I will definitely say episodes 1 and 2 of Stranger Things season 4 were both better than Obi-Wan episode 2. I will take both episodes of Stranger Things over episode 2 of Obi-Wan. I thought that first episode of Obi-Wan was really damn good. So I'm not saying Obi-Wan was better than those ones. I'm just saying, to me, it is not as clear cut. It is with episode 2, but I'm not so sure with it, because I thought episode 1 was really damn special.
I just don't know how you can make that comparison.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, I think that they're totally different things, and I thought that, you know, I found Stranger Things, the first 2 episodes, to be very satisfying.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I
I love them.
really enjoyed
I love them.
Like the production, but they're so far removed from Obi-Wan. I mean, I could say I might have found them more entertaining overall. There was just a lot more stuff happening, and I also bring a different critical acumen to Obi-Wan. I expect more from Obi-Wan than I expected from Stranger Things.
And you know, that's no lying. That is part of it, because, you know, I enjoyed Stranger Things season 3.
Yeah.
I did not think it was fantastic. I think there's a lot of people who didn't think it was fantastic.
No.
So I agree. My expectation level of Stranger Things is lower than the expectation level I bring to Obi-Wan. That being said, though, the first 2, I've only watched 2 episodes so far. The first 2 episodes of Stranger Things season 4 have been really, really damn good.
And also,
I've really enjoyed them.
we talked about it. The climax of episode 1, they're juxtaposing these 2 things going on, and I was like,
Great
I found
scene.
that great.
It's great.
It was great, and I just, you know, I enjoyed it. But I feel differently about Star Wars than I feel about Stranger Things.
All right, what's next?
From Cole sending in some support, and Kyle Benner sending in support. Thank you so much, Cole and Kyle.
All right, guys, and that will do it for today's installment of the John Campea Show. Thank you so much for being here, guys, and making the show part of your day. Big special thank you to all of you guys for being here and making us feel so special. You could be doing other things, but you're here. A big special thank you to those of you who sent in the super chats, number 1, because you gave us great fun things to talk about. But number 2, you supported this channel as you did it, and all of us involved with the John Campea Show. Thank you guys so much for your support. Don't forget, the John Campea Show returns again tomorrow. Make sure you subscribe to our channel, click the thumbs up button, leave a comment down below. Also, there is an episode of Mailbag coming today. So, you know, yesterday was Memorial Day, so I gave everybody half the day off, so we didn't have a mailbag yesterday. There is a mailbag today. Keep your guys' eyes open for that. And of course, just a reminder, our Obi-Wan open spoiler discussion, after show, is tomorrow. Make sure you guys come back and join us for that as well. I want to thank everybody in the room with me, from Robert Meyer Burnett, Chris Carr, Ray Ora, producer Jonathan Voico, and for myself, John Campea. Thanks a lot for being here, guys. And until next time, my friends, bye-bye.
Clear.
I have to go to the bathroom so bad.
I do too, but